Okay, so here I am ready to actually start playing Border Reivers, and you'll notice the camera is in my hand. The thought of using that thing is just so unappealing. Like, first of all, it's going to just focus in on some place, right? You're not going to be able to see where I focus my attention or anything like that. I don't know how people cope with it. You know, the idea of moving the tripod around to focus in on what they want to talk about or whatever, that's just way too much beyond me. So you wouldn't get a good view of the game. So I'm going to try with this. And each player may not have done this as wisely as I wished. We'll get it's getting tight. A hand of these summer cards handed to them. Now, everybody's going to do this simultaneously, but essentially what they do is they look through there and try to decide which one is the best one for them, and then they pass the packet on. So this one gives an extra victory point for each hit this raid. This can be kind of valuable if I'm going to be raiding. This one I kind of like. It's an extra die in a battle. And it gives you three rerolls. It gives you money. That's going to be on my lookout. This gives 3 attack dice on a raid if you're hitting a farm region that's not adjacent to a castle that can be garrisoned. I don't even know what that wording is all about. A castle that can be garrisoned. There are only 6 castles in the game. They can all be garrisoned. 3 extra dice versus 3 rerolls, versus 1 die with 3 rerolls. This is really good if you're doing a big roll. On raids, though, the 3 extra dice, more things hit on a raid. So this is kind of iffy and interesting, too. Scottish Highland. This is an English lord. He would get 2 sheep. I'm going to put this in the Signal fires, add a castle garrison to your march, or 2 peels to your march. There's a lot of those. Captain of Berwick. Okay, jobs are interesting. Add 2 attack dice to 1 combat in each of 3 turns. This is kind of nice. Costs 3 to take. And then add 2 to any combat. Obviously, not at the same level as these other ones, I think. So these are definitely out. So now I make my choice between the 3 that I'm kind of interested in. Do I want to add 2 attack dice multiple times, you know, every turn? Well, obviously, this is the most powerful of the cards. It's also the one that costs money, and it takes a slot. A slot that, you know, maybe there are better cards for. I am English and can play this. It'll be going to a bunch of Scots afterwards, but I think I'm going to go with this one. And then I pass these cards to the next player, and I'm going to indicate that like by putting them back where they were, by moving it up this way. Okay, that'll give me enough room. Now I go through the same process with each other player. So this one, this is a Reiver. This adds a die for battles and raids, has a cost, and it adds an additional attack die if you have an allied grain giving extra dice. Like that one. This is not a great Reiver, but you kind of want a Reiver. Like getting an extra die as a bonus on every action. Keeper of Tyndall, I'm not allowed to play it, so I'm not even going to read it, but it looks pretty good. It gives me additional cards later on. Okay, I lied, I read it. Flip 2 of your sheep to show that they're protected by bastels. The default action allows you to do this to 1. I'm going to put this on the weak side. I'm kind of in the, maybe this isn't too bad if that's there. Border Chevois. This is better for the English. I'm going to throw it away. We don't want it. Aha! A better leader. So this guy gives all kinds of bonuses. So the Liesel goes away, the Signal Fires goes away. I'm not interested in either of those. And then a Grain, who is going to give bonus attack dice in the SMM EMM, which is these two marches. Now, this leader over here is the pale blue. Things are a little confused right now because I don't have them set up how I had them before. And he's over here on the SWM, but it's for attack dice. So I mean, I could attack into these. I'll have cards that allow me to. We can take a look at the choices, but you always have cards that allow you to attack it. Well, you have a handful of cards at the beginning that allows you to attack in a lot of places, but it's often a little bit easier to do things in your own areas. Uh-oh. I'm worried I didn't set something up because I have a feeling there was a cross-border notoriety. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. That may come from a card. So here's the thing. Do I want something that... do I want a Grain which has a similar effect to the Reaver? I'm going to take this Reaver. He's definitely better. He gives more dice and whatnot. He gives an additional die if I'm allied with the Grahams, but they come in on turn 2, but it gives me a reason to take them. And I'll indicate that way. And continue my moving on. Yeah, this setup doesn't work as well as my last one in certain ways. I'm hoping it has certain advantages. That the fact that I have the player mats near the actual things. I'm going to break away for a little while because I'm going to be making the same kind of decision for every player. Everybody selected one card. I have the packets, on their way to other players, and now is there an ordering to this? This is interesting. Didn't really think about this, but I'm not absolutely certain. 2 or 3 player games. Okay, when all families have finished, then they all reveal and act on them simultaneously. Well, that's not something I can do. But basically, you make a choice. Your choice might be a discard here, which is what's kind of tricky. All right, so let's do one of them here. Captain of Berwick must be English to play. He is. Add 2 attack dice to any one combat in each of 3 turns. This is going to be an office that I pick up. I have to pay 3 cattle to get it. Boom, it's done. And I take my next hand and start thinking. This guy over here picks this up. It costs him $2. 2 cattle. Moo bucks. Puts it here. Grabs his thing. We had a selection of another Reaver here. That's going to be $2 off the dark blue. You're going to see, a certain habit in terms of people picking certain kinds of things. There are cards that are just better than others, but also some of it may be my own biases are going to be coming into play as well. Henry Percy. This is going to only cost me 1 cattle. And it allows me to claim the Warden's Defense token for Henry Percy. And we come over here. Now he's going to get this over on his thing, but he also gets Henry Percy, who he'll put over here. And that means every turn he'll be able to use a single token with some good defensive capabilities. Also, all defense dice will gain +1 DRM, I think, where he's placed. Yeah. And rolls 1 extra die of position in the English East March. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be in the Scottish East March, but I would have been passing the card, this card, to the person who gets the bonus from it, who's directly opposite me, who I have issues with. So I definitely wanted to take this. Over here, the Provost of Dumfries. This is going to cost me 4 to pick up, which is a lot. But it is a powerful card because you pay 1 less cattle for each summer card you buy with a cost of 1 or more. What did we say? Provost of Dumfries. I cheated. I cheated. There's a must be Scottish to play on there. Okay, let me just skim back, see if there was something quickly I wanted instead. I'll take Alexander Hume instead. And I spent 4. I should have 2 and a 5 after this. Yeah, this is me just not paying attention. Okay, Alexander Hume claimed the Warden's defense token, and he's not as good. All defense dice gain +1. You can peek at the top 2 events in the event deck when this Warden is added to your family sheet. Oh, where the fuck this is going to go? I don't know what I gained by this repositioning, but it feels like I lost some space somehow. Who was he? Alexander Hume. That goes here. Humes are a player, aren't they? I thought they were. Maybe not. Okay. We got our cards with us, and yeah, it's this movement of the cards and everything. And here I chose Dixon. Now this is the one that's really hard because he's jumping over, and that's kind of what confused me here, I think. Where he'll pay 3 to get an ally, which gives him some bonus attacks over here in the east. Oh well. And it's not playable by Hume. Is there a player named Hume? I thought there was, and now I think there is more. Hume is green. Yeah. Okay. So in winter he adds 2 notoriety though in these. That's going to be helpful. This would have been a lot more valuable to one of the 2 players who's there. But whatever, it was the choice that he went with. You see how one set of cards going around works? I don't feel like it's terribly interesting to show you all this decision making, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. Yeah, see, we're going to have cards that don't last very long, but and nothing got discarded here. I'm going to show you, I guess, sort of the final result of what the playouts is. Although maybe I stop if something interesting happens. But there's really nothing interesting here. It's just a drafting. I may pop in when there's something different from what we've seen, which we are going to see. Right away I raise an eyebrow because what I've been passed is better than what he picked. Now I'm not going to go back and fix that, but it's like, wow. These are both cards that are used, you know, this is used in both my attacks. Granted, this is going to be used in attacks, but it's got a limitation on it. Why did he choose this? I don't know. Maybe the notoriety bonus is an advantage. But, you know, 2 attack dice isn't bad, good at rating. This guy, 3 defense dice is probably better. What I can't do, because I'm not Scottish, but also what I wouldn't want to do is take a different title or a different office. Later I'll be able to hold an extra office or grain, but here, if I take this, I have to discard that one. So I wouldn't want to do that, okay? Picked up another warder there. Over here, I chose the Scottish Highland card, which gives me 3 sheep that I get to place. Now, one thing I do is I add 3 to my total of sheep. The sheep total always has to be consistent. I have to think a little bit. Now, I had castles. I had a couple of castles left on the board that I didn't notice. I didn't manage to clear them out of the way. They, I don't know, sort of invisible to me. Where to put the sheep? I could put them all in one place. If I had a very defensible location, that wouldn't be a bad choice. But I also seem to be missing a sheep. I only have 3 of my locations have a sheep in them. Should be one there. Okay. It's very easy to get confused. Before I had them set up here in the defense box, which was easier to keep track of. But what I'm looking at is, well, if I build a castle, I get an extra sheep here and here. It'll be a little bit more protected. If I put them all in one place, remember they give extra dice. So they become more attackable. So I'm going to put my 3rd sheep here. I'm going to just spread them out a little bit. I feel like that's a wise choice in general. And then I'll move on to the next player, etc. I didn't show what happens with this. Okay, so this card was played for its effect. If it had just been played for a default effect, it would go in here, but instead, it goes here. And will never be touched again for the rest of the game. That just grows to be a huge stack of all 3 decks if, you follow the rules as they stand. I also chose one of these Shields cards that generates stuff. This one, though, costs them $1 to spend. Now, I could, if I look at the default actions, add a sheep or a horse without spending that $1, but this lets me add 2 sheep and or horses. Now here's the thing. I spend my cattle. This is not a great card, but the question is, which do I want to add? If I'm going to be more offensive right away, horses are very valuable. They give me extra dice in attack, remember? But I don't, well, so it's kind of a weird situation because I have the capability. I'm not very good at defending against raids, and I don't have a Reaver, so I'm not going to be very effective offensively. Also, horses are worth more at the end of the game. So I'm going to take 2 horses. That may not be wise because I don't have a lot of sheep. Let's think about this. I have 4 sheep. I'm allowed to hold 5 horses. That's exactly what I have. So I'm going to stick with this decision, but it's a tight one to make. Oh, God. This is going to be so fucking hard. It's the tightness of the board on the table. I tried this upstairs in the loft. That table was thinner. It may have more space overall, but I decided, hey, I wanted the advantage here. There's something pleasant down here. And I had already tried it there and said, no, this isn't good enough. I want a wider table. And this is wide enough it could hold the 3. And I had each of the lords, I had 3 lords going down each column. And then had the victory point track sideways and that thing sideways. And that actually worked okay. I feel like this is getting me in trouble more. But whatever. And you can see I've got like little things to add as a, extra table space essentially, just so that I can hold the stuff. The game has a big footprint. Obviously, if I played with less players, I have less of a footprint. Selected a bunch of cards for this, 3rd time around? And Humes are all, they're faced with this hand. Now they got this William de Lisle, who's kind of shitty. So you have a grain giving him extra dice in certain locations. I'm going to pick this simply because I don't have a Reaver. And, well, I don't know, hell of a... There's 2 of them that have come out already. I could look, it's not in here, it's in the playbook. There's an analysis of all the cards so that you have an idea of how many of each thing you are. This is a really lousy one, but I may not get another chance at a Reaver, and getting that extra die on my attacks seems like a really valuable thing. The other cards aren't really particularly valuable. The only question is really, is that the Reaver I want? Is that the best I'm going to get? And I feel like the good ones for the first round have already come out. People have chosen them. A little mess up. I didn't turn over the Fenwick's card before I started selecting cards for everyone else. Got me a little confused, but that's okay. All right, so this guy over here, Daker, chose this Foggy Night. This is a held card. I don't show this to anyone. I just put it in my held cards, grab another cattle, and I let everybody know that, like, they can't see my card. I guess. I don't know. Time Grave picks an office that he's allowed to have. What's good about this, and it's very much like that other one that I was looking at, this is the Bishop of Carlisle, where we get this little marker. I paid my cattle already. This informs me that I'm going to pay 1 less cattle every time that I pick a summer card that costs more than 1 cattle. But in addition to that, in winter I get to add some notoriety. Unfortunately, on the EWM or EMM, which are far away from me, but I don't want to pass this up. This is something I like, the cheaper resources, and I can build up, like in the East Middlemarch or something, I can build up some notoriety there so that I can launch attacks against the Fenwicks. Players are filling things out. Came to an interesting thing here. The Greys playing a bastel houses. This doesn't cost or gain anything. I get to take 2 of my sheep into my bed. Now, I don't have any defenses down. I can't look at next turn's cards to see what's going on, but I can look at this. I don't have a lot of defenses against raid, which is one of the reasons why I did this. What am I likely? These have to be in different locations, which works well, given my setup. So, let's look for where my castle is. Because if I play a stronghold, garrisons, whatever, I'll probably protect these 2. So I'm going to lay these 2 down. They're now immune to any kind of raid. They just are like, they're permanent sheep for me now. They can't be stolen from me, and they don't add to the raid value and all kind of other stuff. So they're very cool. And that's kind of a neat capability when you don't have defenses laid out for you. Swells are in an interesting position. They're out of cattle. This is somewhat problematic. Now, the Shields card may be the best thing I could have, but I would end up having to play it as a default action because it has a cost. I can't play the Abbot of Kelso because I have this, so I'm just going to play this. I might want to eat this if I wanted to do a default defense, but I don't particularly want cattle. Drawing a defense token seems like a good idea overall, and you know, this is the first time anybody's drawn a defense token. I consider them kind of a low rate value, but there are tokens, so some of those could be good. Some of them could be just rumors that are garbage, but you have them for the rest of the game, which is somewhat different from, like, you know, how this is, or the hold cards. They're a little bit more potent than those are. And, you know, the Earl, or these Warders, are very powerful versions of the defense tokens, but they cost money, you know. So this is kind of a cool option. It's later in the turn, and the Karas have an option to get the Provost of Dumfries. This was the one that was kicking around down here. It's made its way around. He didn't have the cash for it. I do. And it may still be worth it because it's going to count for me for the next 2 turns. Of course, there might be better jobs that come out that I want to replace it with, and it's a big cost for that. By the way, this information down here, that's for the solo game. Otherwise, I could bastel a couple of sheep or take a defense token, which I both see as pretty weak cards. So I'm going to end up buying this one, the office. Although I'm really iffy on it because it's very late in this round. I'm going to get one more card that I might be able to reduce the cost of, but probably not because I've filled all my things except water, and I think all the waters are already out. Oh, we're here with the Humes, and I see my batteries lying. And they had picked Liesel, who's a lousy Reaver, and now they get an option and another Reaver. And I know I'm going to pass this to Gray. I may want to kill this as a default card. Of course, if I do that, it puts it here into the summer card discards. It's still available to other players to pick up and under certain conditions. Remember, the person in last place at the end of the turn could decide that's the best card that got thrown away. Alternatively, I could get 4 cattle instead of 6, or take an early defense, a defense token. This is a hard call. I don't have a hell of a lot of cattle. So grabbing a fistful of cattle might be better. Like, you know, it's not like one player's in the lead or anything. Taking this option away from Lord Grey, do I really want to do that? Well, he's across from me. But this doesn't give bonuses on feud and jailbreaks. It gives a bonus over on raids. And I've got a good warder. I think I can afford to give him this. And so I will choose this one. You can see, as we're getting down to the bottom, some of the choices are getting harder. Now, on that last card, you don't worry about what you're handing the next player because you don't do that. They just end up in the discards. So this is a card that doesn't work for everyone. But it worked for the Dakers. Flip down 2 of your sheep in regions that can contain a town or family castle to show they're protected by bastels. So let's say the Fenwicks got it, right? They have this area with 2 sheep in it that contains both their town, which is the Gale, and the family castle. But luckily for the Dakers, they're in 2 separate regions with different sheep. So I can bastel 2 sheep that way. Now, obviously, if I had gained additional sheep, that would have been, I could have basteled or bedded or whatever 2 sheep in the same area if that was possible. So like this guy could have put both of these down with that card. But in general, on the first turn, that's a tough card because you usually don't have all that many sheep available to you. The early defenses card, I look for the pile of defense tokens, shuffle them up. This is the Maxwell's played this. They get one. Fingerless Will Nixon. Attack dice are halved, round in favor of the attacker. I think it halves the number of them, not the value on. And then that's been used, so it goes into the never to be used again cards. I don't know how I feel, Usually they add a die or 2. That was a pretty weird one, which would be very, very valuable against a big attack. But I haven't seen huge attacks being created, at least not early, in the early turn of the game that I saw. I didn't play past that first turn. I played to the end of it and then decided, you know what, I think I know enough, I can go ahead. The Fenwicks bought also an expensive office for $4. Luckily they had the money. Must be English to play great. Select and play a discarded summer card for free at the end of the 2nd and 3rd summers after the Abbot of Kelso. Maybe another office or an allied grain replacing this one. kind of cool. Remember, there's space for another office or grain there. So, yeah, it wouldn't be an allied. Oh, it could be an allied grain replacing this one if this was in there, and it's allowed to shift up into there. So, yeah. We are now at the final card. Let me show the process that each player follows on this. So, we take a look at the Dakers again, who are first. And I could get 3 sheep. That's pretty cool. Or a castle. So, here's what sucks. If I get a bunch of sheep, I become more of a target. But a bunch of sheep is nice. Like 3 sheep is better than paying to add a castle at this point. So I think I'm going to go with that. I'll play this here, and this guy, I'll go over here. I'm putting them face down because these are being done simultaneously. At some point they'll get flipped up and the top one will be available. It really doesn't matter. I guess, I don't know, it could matter what you see at this point. And you're not allowed to paw through that except during the times when they're available to be seen. Now it does say throw them in face up, but that feels weird to me. I believe it says throw them in face up. But anyway, that's the process, is that you pick one of the cards, and then the final card that you had in your hand gets ditched. That's the card that everybody has refused, right? Because all 6 packets have gone around, everybody's gotten one chance to take something. That is the card that nobody wanted. But there could be an incredibly rich packet, and somebody gets screwed at the end, and like, you know, they already have a job or a Reivers or something, and there was one in there. So there could be something, you know, kind of valuable as that last card. We'll see if any of them go in that are interesting. It's wrong. It is face down. Good. Because it would really suck if it mattered, you know, who threw what first as to what's on top and most visible. It would feel funny. And this makes a lot more sense. And I was going to say, if it says face up, I think I'm still going to play them face down. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I have that situation that I was talking about. The Cares have been handed this. Abbot of Kelso, well, I already have a job. What was happening was it's limited by nation. So a bunch of English people couldn't play it, and then by the time it got to the Scots players, well, the 2 that got to see it, so he must have passed on this, Hume over here. He must have passed on it, but he probably had something better like Henry Percy or whatever. And then after it's moved from there, a bunch of people who couldn't play it got it. And then when people who could play it got it, well, they had already selected an office. So, yeah, it's an interesting situation. Because these are limited by which nation you are, they might be a priority to take over, like, the Warder that I took. On the other hand, I don't know how valuable this is. This is the draw, one of the summer cards at the end of the 2nd and 3rd summers. And what's interesting is the guy who can draw this can't possibly use it because he's going to be the other nationality. So I am going to choose to get me some Babas here. And that good card gets discarded. Another issue we have to bring up. Come down to the Humes. Yeah. Might as well keep the camera running all the time if I'm going to come back for everybody. Here's what they have left. An early defenses, which, again, could be a really good card. I could draw a great token. But it probably isn't going to be very good. And a strong houses, flip down 2 of your sheep in a single region to show they're protected by bastels. I don't have 2 sheep in a single region. Now, I don't believe I'm limited from doing this. I think I can flip down up to 2 sheep in a single region. But, you know, I'm losing half the card if I play it that way. So I'm going to go with the early defenses, hope for the best. It might be better than fully protecting a sheep to some extent, you know, it can defend against jailbreaks and against feuds and whatnot. So it's got its value. The last two selections at this point. He got lucky, got himself a Reaver, not a bad one either. Better than Liesel? Yeah, it's what I just talked about. It was up to Hume. He could have stopped him from getting it, but didn't seem worthwhile. But on our final Fenwick, and this was a choice Gray had as well, and picked this card. He had a handful of 3 of these to pick from. He took this one, which gives 3 attack dice under certain conditions. Well, 3 attack dice is pretty good. But what about these others? This is 2 attack to any dice, any combat. I guess that's attack dice, which is clearly not as good as that. And then the Devil's Beef Tub, which is an extra victory point for each hit in a raid. Now, am I particularly good at raiding? I don't really have stuff that is, and you probably want to play these cards. I think I'm going to go for the 2 dice. What do I have in here? Ignore Defender's defense token. Yeah. I'm going to take that one, and I'm going to throw this in there because for the Devil's Beef Tub to work, you need to be rolling a decent amount of dice in a raid, right? Because in general, like a bunch more dice is going to get you more victory points. But this gives you more victory points for each successful hit, which could actually rack up pretty nicely. And I should not have put that like that. I should put it like this because otherwise I won't get my buck. Kind of interesting. Let me show you a couple of cards here that I just played. So Galloway Castle. Yeah, that's not the one I want. Got another one here? Yeah, here we go. Let's look at 3 of these in a row. So the Border Cheviots gives the English 3 sheep for nothing. Okay? This one gives the Scottish 6 cattle for nothing. But the Shields has the additional option of the horses. It costs you 1, and you get up to 2 of sheep and horses. Now, obviously, look, this gives you sheep for free. This is kind of a bone if you don't take horses with it. But I took a sheep and a horse because I couldn't hold all my horses otherwise. And it reminds me of that Dire Straits song, "Get your cattle for nothing and get your sheep for free," or something like that. I think. I don't remember. Anyway. But I said there were some good defense tokens. Yeah, here's one of them. The Humes just picked this guy. 4 defenses for the farmland. That is just huge. I mean, that's like, it's not as flexible as the better of the warders, but now I've got that for the game, right? That's a potent thing, and it doesn't come taking up a slot or anything like that. It is just a really, really powerful advantage. They got a big bonus out of that. That gets us through the summer turn. I'm going to go through an entire turn before I load the video up, but you know, the summer is a big part of the game. Yeah, so is the winter. The autumn's going to be pretty light, though. Let's do the autumn, and then I'm going to break for a little bit. Okay. Check hand size versus horses, capacity, and sheep, or horses. I don't know. What do I do? I'm going to do these all together. Here it says check hand size horses versus sheep, then gain cattle income. Yeah, okay, it's all in one sentence. Great, because when doing it solo like this, I want to do it this way. Horse limit is 6. I meet that. Hand size is 4. I easily meet that. Cattle income is 6, so I grab myself 6 more bucks. This will give. I'm going to go through all of them because it'll give us an idea of what kind of situation people are in, I guess. Shouldn't I? I don't know. Okay. This guy up here, horse limit 6 easily. Hand size, he has 0, and cattle income of 6 as well. If you don't keep track of your sheep and know how many you have, the game gets all skewed. 5 horses. Hand size 3. I've got 2 of them. This is something you have to keep an awareness of during the summer when you're playing your cards. Am I going to be able to, you know, hold that many cards, that many horses? We did it with the horses. We didn't see it with the cards. And only $4 or only 4 little moo cows here. Which means, unless I figure out a way to make some money, I'm going to be going in kind of poorer than my neighbors into the next turn. Likewise, oh, this is even uglier. How can I be? I'm at 4 sheep. Wow, that sucks. But I've got great defense for them. Horse limit 5, don't have many of them. Hand size of 2, don't have any of those. I do get some cattle though. I have somehow or another, I have a bunch of cattle. Probably got a couple of cards that generated cattle because I've got a lot of stuff out there that costs money as well. Not all 4 though. Over here it says 523. Let's take a look at him. He's got his 5 horsies. Am I writing sheep there? Yeah. Hold cards, I'm okay. So I get my cattle income. And I don't feel too bad. You know, yes, these guys are maybe a little ahead of me. Wow, that guy's got a shitload of money. He's got even more. Okay. And here it's 534. Don't have many horses. I almost certainly don't have 3 of these. And I get 4 cattle, feel a little poor. You know, it's mainly a big deal as to what you can buy coming out of the next summer cards. What cards you can actually use. If you've got a lot of your slots filled, it's not that big a deal because you won't have to pay as much, and you can take cards that don't cost as much. He's got 1 slot to fill. He's got enough money probably for that. It would be helpful. So, like being low on the money scale, it would be helpful to have one of these little markers there, but he just didn't have that. Oh, I'm sorry. This is this guy. He's got a slot open. He's got the warden slot open. Anyway. All right, next thing. 3 random events. First one, the Ballad of Kinmont Willie. Gain 4 notoriety instead of 2 for winning a Jailbreak. Each player may be targeted for a Jailbreak twice. Once during each winter round. Normally you can only be hit once. Okay. So it makes Jailbreaks more appealing. The Rough Wooing. This is the kind of thing that I wish had been... I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't realize it was Henry VIII trying to woo Mary Queen of Scots for Edward. Edward the 5th, I want to say, but 6 sounds right, which is the problem. But I can't think of who the 5th was in that case. I don't know. Available to the attacker during... Okay, so this gives you 9 reroll dice. Available to the attacker during raids or battles occurring in Scotland or the Debatable land. I'm going to... Let's see what the 3rd one is. The Rising of the North. Oh boy. Okay, so this is a battle of Catholics versus Protestants with 2 dice defense. It has +3 notoriety if the Catholics win in any march of their choice, or 3 already expended horses, so they can't use them in the next in the second round if they win this in the first round, if the Protestants win. And no matter what, every hit you get against those 2 dice, whether you're on the winning or losing side, is worth 4 victory points, which is pretty big. So I'm going to actually alter these like this. Now those 9 rerolls, the way you indicate them, as best as I know, is you put lots of dice over on the rough wooing. Remember, these can be used on raids or battles in Scotland or the Debatable land. Alright. It is break time for me. The foggy days and the fog, like when I see a beautiful full moon outside my big window. Not down here, but down here makes it even worse in a way. Really triggers a lot of sadness for me. But such is life, because it is sadness now. All right, we're hitting the winter, and the first thing we do is none too exciting, but quite noisy, is we shuffle these cubes in here and place them to get an ordering of the players for this winter phase. Now each winter, well, the first and second winters, or the first winter has different roles from the second and third. Second and third base the winter order on your victory points, but nobody has any victory points yet. If I can find the track. Everybody's still at 0. So now you could go through all kind of tie-breaking stuff. I think this is more clever. Later on, it'll be relatively rare for 2 people to be at the same victory point level. Not really rare. So let's say uncommon for any pairing. Okay. Now, after we do that, and in the next 2 turns, we're going to be working in victory point, in reverse victory point order. But in this turn, we randomize it, and we randomize twice. In the later turns, we stay with whatever order the victory points determine at the beginning of the winter phase. All right. Now, each player picks which one of these cards they're going to put down for over there. Let's take a look at the Daker family and make Daker? I don't know. Daker, yeah, I don't know. And try to figure out what they want to do. That'll give you an idea, and then I'm going to make the other selections off camera. Okay. So the names on top don't mean a hell of a lot. They give you some idea of what the card is going to do. Okay. And I have a held card here, which gives me a die, this Jailbreak. Now, if I look at the Daker family, I am the 3rd player, and, this is really important, the 2nd English player. Now, the 2nd English player, the reason for that is, if somebody else targets this battle, and there's only one battle available, before I do, I will not be able to get access to the battle. Now the card will allow me to do something else, except if I choose this one, but it says, actually it has an additional, also valid for raid, feud, or jailbreak. So yeah, that one is allowed. Looking to see. So some of these will allow a battle or a raid in given provinces. Now, this is the Rising of the North, which has special rules as to how it's operated. So let's try to find what those rules are. Select target card, Place notoriety is going to be this weird sort of in between selecting the target card, and then they get flipped up, and then we do this notoriety placement thing, which is kind of weird. But selecting the final target here, the target card lists in English or Scottish any battle on the map. We'll give +1 to the die roll. That's this one. The special battle Rising of the North can be chosen as if it was a battle in your home march. Okay. Which would mean that I can choose it. Let's see, I'm English West March. I would have access to it with any of these 3 cards. These 3 all give access to it. Which means if, let's say, the Fenwicks don't go for battle, we'd have that advantage. Now, I have a bonus at Jailbreaks. And then we also have this. I'm going to move these off because it's available to the attacker during raids or battles occurring in Scotland or the Debatable land. Which means if I'm attacking into Scotland in either a raid or a battle, I can grab those 3 rerolls. I'm going to be going early in the turn, so I can probably get 3 rerolls. So this all kind of fits in here. This also gives me rerolls. I may not want to play this card because the Rough Wooing's in place. So I'm going to turn this away and not worry too much about Jailbreaks. Now, what does that mean? All of this thinking. I'm going to hold off on these. These give +1 die to the die roll. They allow a lot of flexibility. And I'm going to aim more for something along these lines. So target opposite march would allow me to do a raid or a battle up into there. Not necessarily, or a feud or a Jailbreak. Now this gives me bonus on raids and battles only. A raid is kind of nice because it lets me grab sheep. I already have people here, so targeting him isn't bad. The only other thing that I have... Oh, this one doesn't. This one has a DL there. So I'm looking for SWM. That's what I have to be careful of. Sometimes these don't align quite as well. I'm going to go with the target opposite march. That gives me a capability to do a raid here, where I can use these cards. It gives me the capability to use the battle. Unfortunately, the battle for me would be in the English West March. I wouldn't be able to use those cards in the battle. And I probably don't want the battle. I probably actually want to raid his stuff. So I've placed mine there. And now I'll go to the next player and go through the same kind of thought process, looking at the held cards to see what they do. Looking at these, I didn't even think about these. So 2 attack dice in 1 combat in each of 3 turns. Okay, so I could throw that in. When you do this, when you use this, you have to mark it somehow. I don't have a good way to mark it. You could drop a cube on it. I rotate them. Earl of Angus just gives me defensive capabilities on my defense chits. That's fine. And Carlton gives me bonuses in the Scottish Westmark. So I can get up to 3 dice off of these. And getting a lot of dice on any attack is good because it gives you more victory points, more notoriety, more this, that, and the other. On a raid, it's more sheep is what you're really aiming for. The +1 to the dice would be especially useful because it would up the movement, it would up your chances of getting sheep. You get the same chances of getting cattle. Anyway, onward, and I will select these. Remember, it's important, and this is where I screwed up last game, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards, 6 of which you're going to use. You're not going to get them back after you use them. But these nice wild cards give you that +1 to the die roll. Now, maybe you want to play them early. you have some advantages for that, but maybe you don't. And right now, I'm choosing not to, at least with this player, because it lets me reserve my more powerful cards for later in the game, which means, and this is important because there's catch-up mechanics as well as the psychological implications. It means I may not get as many victory points, may not look like I'm in as good a place, but this is a game where people can target you, and so kind of sandbagging a little bit, looking a little weaker on the victory point score isn't a bad choice. If you're jumping way ahead, everybody is going to probably target you. Now, this is a game with a lot of board state information that would be really helpful to have at your, in your eyes at all time. Kind of reminds me a little bit of EU Pop for that. Nowhere near as bad, but because there are things that you just want to do aren't even necessarily available to you to easily see, just because of the placement of some of the amount of information out there of things that you want to see. But the last few players have played without really paying too much attention to, hey, is green likely to go for a battle? Now I look at green's cards. He has one thing that's a bonus for battle. This would add to a battle, but only in the SWM, EWM, which is way over here, which means he can't use this in the Scottish marches. So he may actually not be interested in doing a battle. He may be looking at something else, even though he has one die for battle. That's all he gets. Johnston gives him other things. Now, here's one of the problems with Johnston, though. First of all, this is a relatively weak allied grain, which means I may replace him. That's the first thing. The second is, I don't know if he's particularly weak compared to the others out here, but he's particularly weak for this player. And there may be stronger ones out there. I'm not familiar with the deck enough to talk about that, but it gives me an incentive to use my cards that use his bonus now if maybe I get rid of him and exchange him for something else, which I think is what I'm going to go for. So this is the card that confuses the hell out of me. It's got EWM over here on the right. EWM's over here. It may have to do with the ordering of the choices. In fact, strangely, all of the green cards are organized that way. If we look at the Daker cards, they're organized the other way. This might not be too problematic if you're looking at just one deck of cards. There's a couple of other things that are also wrong, that are misprints. I saw a cattle that was gold on one side and white on the other. I think there were a few of them. Some of these have the wrong number. So this one has number 2 on one side, number 1 on the other. And I could obviously mark that and change it. I didn't think about doing that there. So there are a couple of production errors that are going to be kind of problematic in the game. And nowadays, GMT doesn't replace these counters for you. A few years back, they used to send you a little baggie, with like 4 or 5 counters when a game was messed up this way. They don't do that now. You pay like $5 and you get the year's errata on it, which isn't a terrible thing, I guess. I wish they would, if they're going to do that, I wish they would throw in some optional stuff and everything, because it's kind of it's not a cheap price to replace these things. Everything on here I can live with, but it is one of the arguments. I'm coming more and more to conclude. GMT had reached sort of a high point in customer service at one point, and I think they're dropping. It may have to do with costs. It may have to do with Gene backing away from, having to leave the company, essentially, at least the operations of the company. It may have to do with a lot of things, whatever, but they've started making more and more decisions that feel less like they're no longer setting the standard the way they were. They really set the standard when One by the Sword came out, and they said, "Wow, we really fucked up this rule book. We're sending you a new rule book." And I kind of got that. I got something similar to that though, for free, but it wasn't even a game I owned. And I actually wrote to them saying, "Look, I don't know if you've got me marked up wrong for something, but I shouldn't be getting this." And they're like, "Well, you're on the list. We're not charging you anything, whatever." But yeah, I'm a little confused by that. It's kind of like GMT. The gamers used to be the standard for customer service, where like, wow, they went out of their way in similar ways, maybe a little less business-like, but you know, like I wrote to them about something, and Dean just sent me stuff, you know, with like, and you know, I wasn't a known person or anything. This was, I think, before I started doing my videos, but yeah, he just sent he sent me a physical copy of for free of the first edition of one of the rule books that had stuff I was interested in. I was kind of like, "Hey, can you send me like a PDF or something that includes this information?" So I was interested in some of the stuff from the CWB original rules that disappeared, and he just mailed me, you know, a new copy of one of the old ones, because he didn't have it on an electronic version. But that was really sweet. And they used to send a yearly errata counter sheet out for free, and all kind of stuff like that. And it was really, really fantastic. But since they came under the MMP umbrella, they're not anything special anymore. Anyway, so what was I going to do? I was going to work with this guy. Yeah, I've made these other choices I didn't discuss, but I was going to work with this guy, and I'm not that interested in doing a battle, which means I want to go where? I hadn't decided. I want to go into the West, right? SWM and EWM. Now, I'm the first person. Am I interested in going into the debatable lands? I have an automatic free pass to go in there. That could be more useful. See, that the debatable lands, like battles, are kind of hard to get into. But they're an easy source of undefended sheep. But they're kind of hard to get into if you go late in the turn. But if everybody's counting on me doing a battle, somebody else may have planned on going into the debatable lands, and that might be an option. That won't give me the bonus die, though. However, the only card which does is which one? This one that goes into the debatable lands. There's got to be one that gets me into EWM. This one. This one gives me SEM battle. That would be this Northern Rising battle. And I'd be getting that, which I had chosen not to do. There is another battle that shows up here, so I think, why are the event cards facing different ways? I got one. Okay, you just saw that. I did not look. So you have a secret hint as to next turn's cards. I think maybe I'll just go for the debatable lands. See, I hate this because this uses either one of those. Well, we'll play this card. It gives me some flexibility. When I see what other people choose, I might actually change my own choices based on that. I got a couple more to pick still. Or another, I'm having trouble. Like this guy I had still face down. So I paid for him and put him in here. That should have been available to everybody else knowledge-wise, but I don't know how much it makes a difference. Another interesting one. I thought you covered everything in this game. But let's take a look. The Fenwicks, their cards, EEM. See, I got a bonus in SEM, EEM. EEM, I have a target same side march that I can attack. I'm raiding some other Englishman. Okay. Cross-border raid. Target cross-border. Target opposite march gives me SMM. Target cross-border also gives SMM. I think this is an error. See, on the West March, my cross-border march gives me the two others. I think they fucked up. They fucked up a lot on this. Target cross-border Maxwell's are SW, EE, and EMM. So, you know, I was counting on a certain distribution. I'm going to go upstairs and see if there's any errata for this game, because I feel like this is the first thing in the game, and like I said, there's a number of counters that are fucked up. But this is the first thing I've run into that's like, oh boy, is that wrong. Like, that's very different from everything else. Now let's look at how these cards are defined. If they're spelled out that they should be different. 6 target cards. 2 of these cards are expended each winner and removed. Cards for each family come in 6 different types. They give rolls. It doesn't specify what the different kinds of marches are, but across the board, the cross-border march as opposed to opposite march gives you, you know, this should be hitting SWM, okay, and SEM is my guess. It should be hitting, otherwise I have nothing that specifically targets SEM. Now, this is my most likely, right? I have one card that throws me directly across, or I can use it on my own. And I have situations where there's a few jailbreak options right at the beginning of the game. I have a bunch of wild cards, and then I have the Warden, which is a special case. By the way, Maxwell threw a Warden down. Being last or second to last might mean you don't have many options, and you might be better off defending yourself. Hi. But then if we look the cross-border march and the same side march hits 3 things, well, the 2 things it hits are the 2 on my side. One card, I get to pick one of those. Cross-border march should give me 2 things that are not mine. I think I'm going to play it no matter what, even if there's not errata, as if this is SEM. But I'm really disturbed. It feels like there's a whole pile of counter errata in this game. I'm not gonna say anything about quality overall, because I think GMT has generally had its share of flaws in terms of counter mix and whatnot. But this one, this card, at first I thought things were just on, you know, things were just positioned wrong, but now they actually say the wrong thing. This particular card, to me, is much, much worse than any of the other errors I had seen, which I thought might just be layout issue or like this counter. No, not this counter. This counter. And this one also. This one says 1 on one side, 2 on the other. They're not supposed to. They're supposed to, because you use one for the first round in the winter and the other for the second round. And yeah, quick peek on BGG. There's a couple of pages of errata for this one, and indeed the card, the counters, those things are in error. I'll keep an eye out for any others. Go look them up if they are. Did a quick correction with a Sharpie. The counters will be replaced in the 2023 errata. Pay to get the right stuff. Pay again to get the right stuff. Counter sheet. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, I know how I feel about that. The prices of the games should include just like the prices at a food store include the idea that somebody's going to shoplift. The prices in the game should cover any errata they're going to cover. You know, if they have to charge an extra buck at each game, that's fine. And then, you know, just send people the errata sheets. There's an argument of, look, you know, these changes, I can correct this with a pen mark. Okay. Then don't make the errata. You know, like, make the errata, print it, you know, make it available. Both situations, though, lead one to the, maybe I should just wait for the second printing of each game. Why get the first printing of any given game? If the game's good enough, it will get a second printing. Because GMT, you know, it used to be GMT games would sit on the P500 forever and wouldn't come out with a second printing. But anything kind of popular does seem to get a second printing. And if the game wasn't absolutely fantastic, maybe I can miss it. You know, I don't know. It depends. It depends on what you're looking at here. You know, if you're looking at a game that's not gonna, you know, not gonna get a second, not likely to get a second printing, fine, just get your first printing. But they do have a tendency to fuck a fair amount up. They're not the only company that does so, though. It's hard to get a good set here. Anyway, let me try to figure out what I'm going to do with him. I don't really know. Because, again, I'm using up a battle card. There will be a battle there. Oh, and there's another thing. All the cards give you a battle in the DL. There are no battles here, ever. So you could just, you know, that's one of the errata. Remove that. Yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. That doesn't matter. Anyway, everybody selected. Now everybody flips up. Nothing really happens here. It's just everybody now knows in some general terms what their opponents are targeting. But nobody, including the player playing it, knows what they're doing. We have one player playing a Warden. A Warden is a weird thing because you're basically, like, if there's any card you might not want to play ever, the Warden is the one that probably isn't going to generate you victory points. But by putting it, you know, if you're late in the game turn, it's sometimes advantageous to be able to move your defense tokens around. All right. Now we place notoriety. Now this is done in reverse order, so pale blue goes first. First of all, we look, he has no notoriety here. In winter, add 2 notoriety. Let's see. Is there any automatic? I don't think there's any automatic notoriety. So he gets 2 notoriety in SMM and EMM, and that's it. All right. SMM and EMM are over here in one of those, in any combination of them. Well, what am I doing for my card? Ooh, nothing. I could put this in either one of these. It's not going to make much difference. I'm going to put it in the English Middlemarch because it's possible I might end up in a battle in England, and that changes the flow a little bit. Not much. All right. The hell with that. I can't think of any reason. We go to pink. What does pink have? Pink has 2 notoriety in EWM or EMM. Oh, weird. Over here. I am not either of those. Would have been more helpful if I was one. And I have a local guide which doesn't help me. So I'm going to get 2. What am I planning on doing? SEM, EEM. Not what I was planning on doing. It's hard to make a decision. I would think about putting here, but somebody else is already in there. I'm going to go into the English West March and challenge over there, just because. These are my limits to notoriety. Let me just make sure that this is the only ways that there's no automatic notoriety that shows up. I would say if it was. I know that, but I feel like I missed something. Yeah. It's got to be, it's off of cards you played in the summer, or in some summer. All right, our next one is dark blue. Dark blue over here, we can't really read. Notoriety SWM, SMM. SMM, EMM. Okay, so dark blue has a notoriety card here. When it's your turn to place notoriety, immediately add 1 in your march. That's easy enough. I get 2 in any combination of marches. And then the warden across the border will be adding 1. And then in addition, SMM, SWM, SMM, EMM. And I got like 3 between those, but not organized that way. What am I doing? I'm hitting a battle in SMM. That would be the battle for the march, if I do that. I could do that. I think my plan was to go into EMM, but now I look at these. Here's where I make some decisions. There is another Scottish player before me. Is he going to do a battle? That's the question. He is in Scottish East March. He can do a battle there. I assume he's going for it. Okay. So I'm not going to go for the battle for the North, which would have to actually be in SMM, which means I must target EMM with a raid, a battle, well, with a raid, a feud, or a jailbreak. I have the capacity to do any of these. So, EMM is going to be my focus. I am allowed 1 cube in EMM. I'll put that there. Here, SWM, SMM. I could throw some influence into the Scottish West March. I've got a fair amount in my own. Why don't I do that? We'll put this to 2. I got 2 more I can put anywhere. I'll put them in the East Middle March. And now it's his turn, and he says, yeah, I'm going to take it in my own, because I want to maintain power in my own march. This card was used. Now, I might have chosen instead, hey, what am I going to do? You know, because I've got plans, right? And that's an interesting option. What am I going to do? I'm going to be raiding, probably. My card does not help battle, does it? It might be jailbreaking or something. I don't have many cards. I don't have many bonuses here. SEM, EEM. Am I hitting those? Oh, no. I was going to go after SEM. Do I get anything? I do. I think we're good with this. I think bonusing our own is a wise choice. All right. That gets us down to the orange player, who gets 1 notoriety in SWM, EWM. That's not much. What are we hitting? SWM, EWM. Huh. Okay, is this guy going for battle? East Middlemarch? It looks like he is. Is this guy going... well, it doesn't matter. He's Scottish. Okay, so we're assuming we don't get to play in the battle, which means SWM, EWM, or the debatable land. What were we doing? SWM. We'll put our 1 there. It's not optimal. We don't get any advantage for that. EWM is ours. We could put it there and improve our holding there. I don't know. I really don't know. All right. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I have to change batteries, but we're up to orange. Let's move these 2 up and to remind me that I have to do those 2. And we're on the Fenwicks. Get nothing. 2 notoriety in SEM and EEM. Okay. Is that where I'm going? I have a battle in EEM. And no, that's EMM. That doesn't help me, does it? That's mine. I could battle there. I'm set up for it, but I wasn't really planning on it. I was planning on the EEM card. The EEM card means that's mine. Oh no, that's this guy. So what was I going to do there? A raid or a battle or something else. I was going to raid there. Why? Because I could ignore a defense token. I'm in the lead here. Of course, this is the only card that gets me into there. What do I want to do? I'm going to go with my plan. And what did I say? 2 into here. Ew. Okay. That's him. And finally to green. This is difficult. One reason I liked having them all face me. Green is going first. I think I was going to do a battle. Where do I live as green? SEM. I don't get a bonus in SEM. Oh, I get a battle die roll here. I have no held cards. I get 2 in SWM, EWM. SWM, EWM. Am I getting anything there? I didn't take these into account really. SWM. I could go fight in SWM. All the way over here. That's crowded. 2 isn't going to give me anything because I'd be in second place and I would be boned. EWM is a little less crowded. I'll put that there because I'm not using a card that attacks that in particular, so that gives me a little bit more influence over there. Yeah, it could go either way. That's the notoriety. Now, following normal player order, we select our attack token for our number 1 piece. And this one's written correctly. Hey, I think there's another one that's written incorrectly, but I'm not positive of that. And I think this one's the only one that was mentioned in the errata. Okay. What I was going to do is, I believe, a battle. And I am in the SEM. I wish it got rid of the M's and just said SE. That would be easier for me to cope with. SE battle. Do I want lots of notoriety in my own area? Well, nobody's contesting me there. So I think I'm going to fight as a Protestant there. Now, I commit my horses. Battles are tough. I'm going to commit a pair of horses to this fight. I have to leave one for my second fight. The defender... Oh, shit. When did the defender place their defense tokens? Back in the autumn. Okay. Ignore all of this. I had to place defense tokens. And that is done... secretly. Okay. So let's pretend I don't know any of this shit. Yeah, I should have known. The fucking warden should have clarified me. Okay, let's take a look at the English West March. What am I worried about here? I'm worried about a couple of things. I have a place where I have too many sheep. I'm going to put the big anti-sheep guy there. This could defend sheep, but I'm going to put him on the Jailbreak. And because I think victory points are worth less at the beginning of the game, I'm going to put a defense marker down there on the feuds with. Let's look at the next one. Next one's blue here. And, okay. Attack dice halved. I have no real defense here. I have nothing to really help me here. I'll put the attack dice halved here. I'll put a deputy warden here. And I'll put a no defense dice here. I'm not going to defend my towns as they were. Dark blue. This guy has a warden. How come he doesn't have a counter for it? Percy. Did I give somebody else the Percy marker? Oh no, that wrong guy. Okay, this is the dark blue. Good enough. Dark blue. I think it's most important to defend my sheep at this point. I'm going to put this here. But I have two sheep here. Anybody can attack any of these sheep, so, you know, whatever. All right, now to green, who has a ton of defense. Now, this should not be happening right now. Okay. Are there some sheep I want to defend? Yeah. Sure. Defend against jail. Defend against this. And I'll put a no defense dice here. Defense tokens don't get revealed unless they get attacked. But you start to learn who's got a tough defense as they get hit. Alright, we hit pink here. Pink should have one. Okay, pink says, I do not want anyone getting the jail. There's no real reason to defend the sheep, but I gotta, you know, I might as well play all my markers. And finally, here with the Fenwicks, who don't have much. They don't have many. They have a lot of defenses for their sheep, though. So that's kind of cool. I'll do it this way. Okay. Now, where were we? This is from here. Now we come back here. I committed horses. Defenses would be revealed and use a warden if I was attacking something that's not a battle. And the attacker would get to play his held attack cards. Who is this again? Who's doing this? It's green. Green has no held attack cards. Now it's time to figure out. I'm going to compute the combat dice here. Normally you wouldn't do this, but because of the held attack cards and whatnot, I feel like it's necessary. Let's see if there's anything that gets in our way here. Compute resolve combats. Yeah. And who's got a warden? Whenever pale blue gets attacked, we'll have to be able to jump in. His ability is... I don't know. All right. So now we look here. What do I have? I have a Reaver. I'm going into battle. That gets me 1. I have horses, 2. An allied grayness. I'm in, that would be SWM. I'm not in SWM, I'm in SEM for this fight. This is only for defense. Allied grayness. Notoriety. I am top in notoriety in that area. So I get 2. It's not a raid, it's not cubes, it's not held cards, no offices that play. We go over here, only the battle defends against me. So it'll be 2 dice against me. I don't roll it yet. I could. Guess simultaneous is the 2 players, huh? Yeah, because you determine order, then you do all this. All right. No, that doesn't make sense. I don't see a reason not to fight the battle out at this point. Do I? Yeah, there is a reason. The other person who's choosing the battle, if he's got a lot of hits, may not want to go in there. So I've got to look up a couple of timing issues. One is how the warden gets used, and 2 is whether or not these get fought before the selection. It's not really clear from here, right? Like, well, no, everybody plays their notoriety, everybody selects their target regions. Okay, so that happens that way. I do have to look up the warden, though. That's going to be done before the combat dice, before you compute combat dice. And the problem is, I feel like I have to do the compute combat dice because of the way I play solo at the moment that I declare the attack. Harm to that. If I had attacked a place with the defense thing, it would be, the warden could be played, and then it would be revealed. So, and I just find it easier to compute the attack dice as I declare the attack. Because otherwise I would have to go back and figure all of this locationality back. All right, so now we go to the Fenwick attack. Attack number 1. Corrected. Okay. The Fenwicks were not going to do the battle, but they may change their mind. They got a lot of... No, they do not. All right. What do I have in hand? I got 2 cards for the battle if I want it. No. Do I want a bunch of notoriety at home? Maybe. There's a lot of people there. Ignore defender's defense token in this raid, feud, or jailbreak. So I could attack a defense token without any problem, The Warden can also be voided. I don't have a hell of a lot of cards, but it's interesting. Or do I want to fight the battle? Do I want to go fight the battle for additional notoriety? Right now, I am looking at... So we've already looked at his dice. He's got 5 dice to the 2. If I went into the battle, at my best, I got two dice from the cards, 2 dice from this. I don't get this. I do have the capability to do the battle. I would be weaker than him, so I probably wouldn't win it. I would just get victory points for hits. That makes the battle a lot less interesting. So I think what I want to do is what I was planning on, which is SEM. Yeah. And I don't care about green's defense. I just don't care. A jailbreak would get me more horses. Horses are valuable. A feud is just victory points. That doesn't feel very important. I have a decent amount of sheep. So I'm going to go for a jailbreak here, which I'm allowed to, based on this, because I don't have a cube present. Okay? Never mind. What does he do? He just gets rid of defense tokens, which is not these. This is not that great a place to raid. That's my problem. Yeah, this is just not that great a card. Wait, I was planning on going into the English East March. What's up with that? Because that's where I put my points. I can't go into the English East March. Why did I do this? Who am I? What the fuck, man? Why did I play an English East March? My card does not allow me there. I fucked everything up. Okay, well, what did green do with their points? They went into English West March. Let's see if we would have impacted them. SWM, EWM. They're going to be over there. Yeah, let me have chosen instead to put my 2 here. I don't know why I put them in the English East March. That is not where I want them. But I can't jailbreak. I can't do anything too exciting. I want to ignore where the castle is. So I'll go after these guys. And I will commit... It's just a raid against 1 sheep. I'm going to commit a single horse. Now horses lying down have a meaning too. They're worn out. I'm going to commit a single horse there. And what the hell is going on? Reveal defenses and use warden. He doesn't have a warden. He reveals his defense. Do I play my card yet? No. He reveals his defense. Ooh, that's a nasty one. I could play both my cards at once, but I definitely want to play the Duke of Albany here. Ignore the defense token in this raid, feud or jailbreak. If the defender plays a warden card, its effects are voided too. Okay. So now, we go down to compute the dice, and what do we got? We have no Reaver. We have 1 whole horse. The allied grayness, SEM, EEM. We get a die for that. That's why we're here. And that's why we chose EEM as a possibility as well. Why did I not want to go there? Wait a minute. Maybe I should be down. Fucking hell. My card didn't allow it. That's why I had to go to SEM. Okay. Notoriety. I have second place in notoriety here, so I get a marker. It's a sheep raid, so I get one thing for that. My held card doesn't actually add anything. My office doesn't add anything. Let's look to the defense. He has no peels filled there. The castle is over here. His defense token's been negated, and it's not a battle, so he gets no battle dice. The warden doesn't automatically help anything. You have to get him in the right place. So we discarded. I don't know if it happens now, but that battle is set. I'm going to have to change up batteries again, and we'll be getting to the orange player and his selections. It passes so quickly in my life. Like, I feel like I know I didn't just go shopping, but I feel like I have to go shopping again. I'm running low on food. Not terribly. Mainly because I found a whole bunch of rotting lettuce. But I ate it all, so it's okay. But it's just like, has it really been 2 weeks? And yeah, it has, but it's like, it just passes. I haven't done laundry in a couple of weeks, and I've had to for a couple of weeks. And I'm like at the point of like, wow, I've gotten so fat, nothing fits me. And so when I go dancing, I can only wear a few different outfits. Anyway, we're on the orange player. What's he up to? God, I have no fucking clue. What are we doing? We follow this little thing. We have to select our target region. We look on the chip to see that it has a 1 on both sides. It does not. It's another one that's screwed up. Okay, so I have to mark this one up. What did orange choose? We don't know. Orange lives in the EWM. I could fight a battle. The other English player who went before me didn't choose to fight the battle. Do I want to? I don't know. It's a new option, though. I'm in EWM. That'll give me a bonus die. I have a bonus on jailbreaks, which may be what I intended. Yeah, I was intending to go across the way and do a jailbreak, but now I have an opportunity to get a bunch of notoriety in my home area, where there are a lot of people challenging me for some reason. Don't know why. I'm assuming they're going to place attacks on me. So what if I go for battle? Well, I'm facing 5 dice. I know what his dice are already. What would I be getting? I would be getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does he have notoriety on his? Yeah. 4, 5. So I could go at even, and that's the best I could do. Or I could jailbreak. I don't know. The rough wooing gives him an advantage of rerolls. I can do that same reroll advantage if I do a jailbreak here. And this is going to be my best attack. So I'm going to just put 1 horse here, because I'm going to get 1 extra die from my card. I get a die from this. I might as well keep two horses for the next thing. Who knows? Maybe I go into the battle. I don't know. Okay. Let's figure out what we got. Shit there, though. Oh, well. All right. The jailbreak could get us more horses. Yeah, let's... I don't know. I know he's got a warden. That's the problem. I'm attacking him with a warden. He's going to put his best defense against me. Yeah, you know. I go for this. I don't like fighting him. I've got too many disadvantages right now. These stupid Horples are a problem. Okay, let's figure out what I got. No Reaver. I spent 2 horses. Allied Greyness, I'm in EWM. I really wish it just said EW. That would be so much easier. I have the notoriety advantage of 2. I can't use this for anything. There was something else that gave me an advantage, wasn't there? Maybe not. Can't think of it. Can't think of anything. Office. I got the office. I have to mark this somehow. That's how I do it. And turn it upside down. I can turn it like this. Shouldn't be hidden, but whatever. Oh boy. Now we're on dark blue. What is dark blue up to? I don't fucking know anymore. This has gotten painful. We look and make sure the numbers are the same. Where's he going? He's either going to EM or SM. What's he up to? He would love to do the battle. Who's in battle? Green. Same side, can't do it. Well, that sucks. Let me make sure that the Rising in the North is actually by nationality. I think that all the other battles are. The question is, does this one require one from each side? Unfortunately, it's not well determined. If I read the rules, and maybe it's in the errata, because the argument could be, look, you could have Catholics and Protestants from the same side of the border fighting each other here. You may not choose a final target selected earlier in the turn, even if it was in a prior round. Exceptions. Battles can be selected twice, as long as one selected family is English, the other is Scottish. And then there's this. Okay, well that's pretty clear. But then we come down to here. Finally, the special battle Rising in the North can be chosen as if it was a battle in their home march. The first family targeting has the choice of representing the Catholics or the Protestants, depending on what bonus they wish to receive. The second family must support the opposite religion. I think it has to still respect the national boundaries as well. That's how I played it last time, so I'll stick with that. And where am I? Somebody's already picked the battle. It's not an option. It's not an option. I think I'm on the dark blue player. Yeah. Okay, so he can't take the battle. So he has to go into EMM with a raid or something else. What are my bonuses? My fucking sheep got bumped. Okay, we got to count the sheep instead. 1, 2, 3. Looks like I got 5 sheep. Okay. What am I talking about? I'm going to SMM. What the hell? Oh, I'm going to EMM. I have a bonus in battle that I'd have loved to use. I have a bonus in EMM. I have ones everywhere else. I have a card which gives me a big bonus in battle. I would love to do a battle. I'm going to do a jailbreak. Put this at the jail. I'll commit 3 of my 5 horses. A lot of horses. I'm looking to get more horses. Is that wise? Well, there aren't a lot of sheep there, and I don't have to check. I can build more sheep later. Like the sheep, you have to check the sheep at a different time. I can't wander around and find the thing and then forget what the fuck I'm doing here. Okay, so what did I do? I don't know. I think I calculate the numbers. I need that little cheat sheet with me. I've got one here. Yay! Let's look. Committed horses, revealed defenses, use warden. I'm attacking here. The defenses is a die. This doesn't help. Play held attack cards. Like I said, it doesn't help. Okay, let's calculate the pieces. I get 1 for my Reaver. I get 3 for horses. Nay. The Allied Grayness gives me 1 in that area. My notoriety. I'm in 2nd place for notoriety. I get 1. Note the defender's notoriety doesn't count. Sheep, it's not a raid, but there's a cube available that I'm attacking. Did I remember to count the sheep in on this guy? Fuck. I did. Okay. Oh. My back is fucking killing me. This is taking much longer than I expected it to. And it has, I don't know what it has to do with. Like, I was having a much easier time without the fucking camera. Okay. Held cards, no. Offices don't usually help. Okay. What's the defense that I'm facing? There's a peel, but the peel only has little green dice on it. It doesn't help. There's a defense token, which does help. Castle garrison, again, if the castle was here, I'm sorry, there's a peel here, there's a castle here. They only have green dice on them. I can check that. I wouldn't have attacked if I knew he was that well defended, though. So I got no held cards. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me make sure that the castle garrison and the peels only count for defending the sheep. There's nice charts here that spell it all out. Okay. So that's that battle. And I just want to fucking end. I really do. I was not expecting to hurt this much. My hip, my back, that's what it is. I'm on pink, which is not this guy, and I was having this problem playing without the camera because I couldn't get anybody here, and I also didn't have anybody up there, but I kept confusing these two people, and it's just a matter of like, look, you know, this is not a problem with the game, it's a problem with my table not being fat enough or whatever, but this game does eat up a huge table space. Like, you need one fucking big table to play the whole thing with 6 players. It's not just covering the space, it's you just need certain dimensions, or else things are going to be sitting in the wrong place. What is Gray fucking up to? First we check his number counters to make sure that they're not needing to be repaired. Okay, now we check what he's doing. He's doing SEEE. One of these two. He likes to raid. He likes to raid. I can't do a battle. The battle is committed. What is this fucking thing? Oh, each player can be targeted for a jailbreak more often. Yeah, I forgot all about that. I could do a jailbreak. Why don't I? Well, the problem I have is this Henry Percy here is still sitting out there. He's 2 dice, and I'm betting he's sitting on the jail. But these have 2 dice each. These have defense markers each. What do I have to help me? I could throw a bunch of dice on a raid, but I'm not going to get a lot off a raid. Let us send 3 horses here. Fucking goddamn pieces of wood. Again, I could use the counters, but the counters are too fucking big too. Like, I want something tiny. I want this to be bigger than the fucking modifiers. Yeah, I'm getting goddamn fucking cranky. Okay, this doesn't help. What are we doing here? I don't fucking know. Do I want to throw all 4 in? I don't really want more horses. I need sheep. That's the problem. I'm going to get horses off of this shit. But it's the jailbreak time. Sure, whatever. I'm trying to keep track of the programming and everything. It's just fucking annoying. Alright. I've got a Reaver. That's 1. Oh, this gets revealed. Yay, it's Henry. Horses, I have 3. Allied Grayness, no. Notoriety, I'm not even playing. What the fuck? Over there. Great. There's a cube. I have no held cards. I have no offices that matter. Why did I think this was good? I don't know. Who am I facing? Oh, I'm good against jailbreaks. What am I facing? I am facing a 2 for the defense token. And that's it. Alright, 1 more and then I'm pausing because I can't take this. And the last one was blue, pale blue. No one attacked him. He put the warden up, scared everyone away. There were people who wanted to. They chose different options because of that warden card. Of course, the warden card's gone after this. That puts me at resolve combats. I hate to stop at this point, but I can't cope anymore. Here we are. It's like 4 a.m. Thursday. Long, didn't come down all day. Didn't do my shopping, didn't do my laundry. Of course not. I hide and sleep. I mean, I woke up at a time when I could have gone shopping very easily. It was very pretty out. It was like maybe 10 a.m. or something. And I was just like, no, it couldn't have been. It couldn't have been. Like, I don't know. Anyway. But I looked outside, saw how pretty it was, and just said, I can't, I can't. All right, where are we here? we're on Resolve the Combats. And we do these in order as well. So let's look for Green's combat, wherever the hell I have it. That's over here. So what I'm going to be doing is Green is Scottish and has 5 dice assigned. The battle itself has 2 dice. Now we look at the results on a battle and we'll see I need a 5 or a 6 to hit, and 5s and 6s block me. Now what I really want is to be able to throw dice in a box or something. I was doing it here, but doing this one-handed is not going to be good. Okay. And do we have any pluses? We do not. So we got 2 hits, both blocked. I'm just going to check to see if there's anything fancy that I missed. I don't see anything there. What's this? Add 1 more attack die if you have an allied grain, giving extra dice. Ooh, wait. I might get another die. Johnston gave a die in Southwest and, I'm sorry, Scottish West and English West. Scottish East is where I'm at, so I did not get a die from him, and therefore I do not get a die, an extra die from him. And we can take these off. They don't matter anymore. We got 0 hits. Our horses can go home. Those aren't going to matter. And we flip this over to indicate that it was attacked, although we're not going to need to do that because Orange's attack is going to be handled in a moment. To mark where we are. These are reviewable at any time. And that'll help other players know what he has. That's why it's, yeah, the fact that they're all the same deck is important, and that this card was obviously an error. I can also get rid of that guy simply because that'll help me remember that I have to reshuffle or re-roll. Okay, now we're on the Fenwick attack. We don't know where that is yet. We got to find it. It's up here. All right. And yeah, I'm not averse to rolling in a box. It's just usually there's not space for one, or there's plenty of space for me to roll otherwise, and it's easier to cope with. Fenwick is attacking the Scottish East March Hume. I have no dice because of special cards and whatnot, so we take a look at what we're going to do. We get 1, 2, 3, 4 dice versus nothing. Since this is pointed at a sheep area, it's a raid. I need 3 4s and 5s and 6s. Now, do I have any pluses here? Nope. So I got 3 5s and 6s, which means I get hits on 3 sheep. That's going to give me 6 victory points up here. And I believe 3 unbasteled sheep. There's only 1 available, so Hume loses a sheep. He's down to 3. Fenwick gains 1, and I get to put it somewhere. Where do I want my sheep? Fenwick's this guy over here, not where he's near. Well, I don't want to put it here, right? I don't know. It's not that terrible a place. This is a well-defended location, a very well-defended location, with both the castle and one of those little tower things. I don't know what they're called. Forgot. Okay. And I'll get my horse back and leave this attack marker here. That attack marker is important because no one else can attack that location. No one else would want to. There's no sheep there. But that's okay. And we get rid of what's been played. Orange. Orange is the Dakers. I expect them to be over there. They're not, so now I look around for them. They're fighting the Rising of the North as well. Not going to be anything too exciting about that I didn't already account for. So, I've got to count at 2, 4, 6, 7 dice. And I really should be using the red for the English and the blue for the Scottish, which is what I'm doing here. I'm not sure if I did that on the last one. Okay, this is the battle again. Only 5s and 6s matter. There are none for the defense. And I got 4 hits. Those 4 hits can be represented with 4 cubes, but I don't need to. The reason I don't need to is I've already resolved this. So that's 4 hits. That gets me 16 points. See how, you know, a lot of die rolls on a battle that gives a lot of points. That can be really valuable. And I am attacking on the Catholic side, so I will get 3 notoriety where the battle is. The battle is in my home. That's how the Rising of the North works. This is Daker. So he goes up to 6 notoriety, giving him a lot of bonus there. His horses go away. Technically, I shouldn't be removing these yet, but I want to get some clutter off the board. So we're going to get the Rising of the North, and we're going to put it over here. Okay. I just realized something. This guy could have re-rolled 3 of his dice. I shouldn't be removing this stuff because it would help me remind me. But he had at least 3 misses that I'm going to roll. He's still got no hits. See, he could use the Royal Wooing because he's a battle in Scotland. Or sorry, the Rough Wooing. Whereas over here it's a battle in England that he won. That is not him. Okay. The orange goes away, and his card goes away. And it's very easy to get confused when you're fiddling around with so much stuff, right? Most Euros don't have a lot of die rolling going on when you're fiddling with a lot of different stuff. So it's even, you know, more mechanically or mechanically complicated than most Euros in terms of that. And then it's got all the Euro type stuff going on. All right, we get rid of these dice. This has already been used. I can leave it there because we've got another round to go. The dark blue, which is the Care Bears. Where do they go? They're hitting here. I've got them all figured out. There's a defensive die there. There should be more than one, because there's a castle. How did I miss that? I just didn't notice. Okay. Unless something was allowing me to ignore a castle, which I don't believe there was. Yeah, you know, maybe there was. Let me look. Let me look through the out of play cards. The only thing like that was the thing that ignored this, which I did account for. Okay. And so we're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dice. Where are we? We're hitting a sheep. 7 dice up against... Oh, we're hitting a jail. That's why the castle doesn't count. Yeah. Okay, 7 dice up against 1 die. And the Scots have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 1. This is a jailbreak. That means we're looking for 5s and 6s, and the defender's looking for 5s and higher. Does either side have a bonus? Fenwick's, I don't see anything. And there's nothing on the card. Add one more, wrong guy. Add one more attack if allied with Armstrong, no. Okay, so we got 3 hits. I forgot to do something here. Back in that raid that was successful, we should have put a pink cube in the feud, increasing something. Increasing the amount of, I don't know. I don't know what. Okay. Now, it's not mentioned here, but I saw it here, I think. This is different from how I played. Like, in the sense that I fucked something up earlier, I think, which is why I'm looking this up. Remove one of the attacker's cubes and the defender's Reivers and jail box for each hit. Yeah. That's different. What the feud? What does the feud do? Yeah, I don't think there's any need for there to be more than one feud marker. I thought the feud removed a brick. A cube? I don't see that. They're just feuding for the rest of the game. I thought I saw something that said otherwise. Okay, we'll get rid of this. They're already feuding. So what did I get for hits? I got 3 hits here on a jailbreak. That gets me 6 victory points for dark blue. Yep. And 3 horses that are fatigued. I'm sorry, 2 horses that are fatigued, because this is limited by the cubes. The hits that I get are not limited by the cubes. So I get a couple of horses there. This cube goes away because I saved the dude. There's nothing here. Okay. These horses go back. I've got a shitload of horses. How am I going to manage all of these? And my attack flips this way, so I know that it's used up. And then I lean over because my back hurts. Grab the remainder of the dice. Get rid of this. Look at all these little mechanical actions I've got to perform. You know, I mean, sure, moving a stack at a time, you know, is a bunch of mechanical actions in a war game, but they all sort of flow towards a singular, you know, objective. Like if I'm moving a stack of pieces, I'm probably moving a whole formation in that general, you know, activity. If I'm advancing to attack, I'm probably doing it across the whole front. So I do one thought of how I do things, and I may have to, you know, compute out odds or make some figuring or whatever, but I don't have to do a lot of, I don't have a lot of these. And now I have to do A. Now I have to do B. And keep looking them up and everything, because it's just this sequence of procedural effects that are happening. Now, obviously, look, I didn't have to grab these cubes out, and that's what triggered me. But I gotta say, it does actually help me keep track of where I am. If I leave the cubes and the cards out, I would keep looking for the same people. Okay, so now we look because of the mental aspect of it. So cleaning those out actually helps, even though it adds an additional mechanical aspect. Okay, so now we got another jailbreak here. And did I roll dice? I sure hope I did. We get rid of these because they're going to fucking confuse me. We got another jailbreak here now. I looked through all defense dice, no, and winter add, no. I am attacking something. I am attacking something that gave a defense token. It's also got a purple Henry Percy here, which probably means something. Rolls 1 extra die if positioned in the English East March. Nah, he's not. But all defense dice gain +1. This is definitely going to be in play because his counter is involved in it. So let's take a look at what happens. This is a jailbreak. I'm confused. There's no prestige for a jailbreak? Yes, there is. If horse-freed, attacker gets 2 notoriety in March, and defender loses 1. Where did this happen? This happened here. The attacker gets 2, and the defender's the English middle mark. That's the Fenwicks. They lose 1. They've lost their position in terms of being in charge. Jailbreak and feuds are nice because they give you notoriety, which is hard to get elsewhere. Okay, back to this attack. What do we have? We have 3, 4, 5 dice for the English, 2 dice for the Scottish. I throw the dice all over the fucking place because I can't pick things up one-handed very easily when I'm holding the camera. Pockets of dice games are a fucking pain to video. Now, I remember I've got this. Attacking in Scotland is easier. What am I doing? I'm doing a jailbreak. That probably means 5s and 6s. Somebody has pluses on their die rolls. I don't remember for sure. It's Percy. It's the blue dice. Okay, that's a cancel versus a cancel. There's still 1 cancel left there. I'm going to pull 3 dice out of here. Doesn't matter what color they are. And see if I can overcome that. I cannot. Okay, so what happened in the jailbreak? Well, no 6s were rolled, so there's no hanging. There's basically no advantage. I got nothing for my attack, which blows chunks. Now, part of me is worried, hey, maybe there's something here that allows me to do something that I haven't taken advantage of. I know there's not in this particular case, but it is one of the problems with a game like this that has a lot of little pieces of information in it that, I have to remember all that shit, right? And I'm definitely somewhat overwhelmed by playing it solo. More so because I have the camera running. I was doing pretty well a couple of days ago when I was playing this without a camera running, but the extra addition of my mouth running at the same time is causing issues. Now, so let me think. Why did people not score points? We're okay here. Okay, blue didn't score points because they're not doing a damn thing. They have no attack on the board. In they go. And green lost a battle that didn't generate any points for them. And pink did this. Hey, we fucked up. We forgot about this. Who succeeded in a jailbreak? This guy did. It's supposed to be 4 instead of 2 for winning a jailbreak. That will double Dark Blue's points. He's up to a 12 instead of a 6. Again, remembering all the shit that's out there and going on, pain in the ass. And yeah, you can do all the little modifiers and fun stuff that you like. You put a lot of information out on cards that changes the effects of things and everything, and the game just starts spiraling into a place where mentally it's very hard to keep track of everything that's going on. So the only game that faces that, Beach's Virgin Queen, definitely went over that limit for me. I think more than this does, because again, I had very little problem with this when I was not videoing. Unfortunately, because this is pretty much just a Euro, where the only damn thing that's of any interest is sort of the decision-making process on each move, and it's very pulsed and everything. It's going to be painful. Like, what else could I do other than video every single action and thought that I'm taking? Right? The only other thing I can do is I can step back and give you a story. Some people, it would come down to, some people rated some stuff and these are the points that came out from it. This is the problem I have with Euros. It's very hard to come up with a narrative. Like, there's no in between. There's show the whole fucking game or show the victory point track. Those are the two things, Oh, look, the little race, orange is winning and blue is chasing him. And look, a lot of people didn't even move at all. That's the kind of story you get out of this. We can look around and say, oh, there's a lot of sheep around here or something along those lines. But yeah, it just doesn't work. All right. Now we flip this back over and look for the specific place where we exist here. It is turn 1, so we redo the random event draw for player order. We shuffle these a great deal. We don't return these cards. These cards that are flipped up are basically used once per turn. And you might see the cubes, but I'm not looking. I'm looking at where they go. I always draw 2 on the last one and then place there and there. I don't know why. Just a weirdo that way. And now it's time to make all my selections again. I am in no desire to do this. So we're going to go here and go to select target region. Part of it is I know that my raid game is ready and I've been saving up, tons of points to handle this. And part of it is playing this is a very frustrating endeavor. And it's not like I would enjoy it opposed, right? I would be sitting there not really sure what the hell's going on and not able to follow a good narrative of what's going on so that I could learn lessons from it. And basically my head would just be spinning the whole time and I'd feel like I'm wasting time. How would I enjoy playing the solo game? So I would not have bought this if it was just a solo game. I wouldn't have even considered it. I have no interest in playing design for solo. And that pretty much sums things up. Do I every so often buy a solo game? Yeah, I ordered the Mr. President one because I think that's going to tell me an interesting narrative. But this was obviously not going to give a great narrative. Solo war games, for the most part, solo Euro rules, rules for playing a Euro solo, those are not going to intrigue me usually. Those are usually mechanisms that are designed more for either providing enough randomness in decisions that you can't really predict what the enemy is going to do, or the most likely thing is that they're calculable, at least in theory, to a degree that you can tell. You can tell the odds of each move. They're discretely described. Now, what the fuck is going on here? These are tired horses. These are tired horses. These are my fresh ones. Oh yeah, I had horses lying down all over the place. It's kind of interesting. If you want to play your warden on the second card, you still have to reserve a horse for it. You can't put yourself in a position where you're not going to play a horse. But by playing it on the first card, it means that I have 3 horses. I have all my horses available for me for the second attack. I know this video has gone way too long. I should have cut it off somewhere in the midst of a turn. I don't know what to say. I think we're okay in terms of what we've gotten done. I'm babbling too much, making it even longer. But, you know, some of why I do these videos is to have someone to talk to. There were various reasons that Orange played the card that they did, and I don't know what they were. I can look to see what the card was. They play a battle card or something? Yeah, they played the English Westmarch battle card to get their points, to get some score off the battle. And it worked really well. I'm in the lead because of that. But unfortunately, that's the only card that works with Jailbreak, which is worth extra points right now as well. However, so I've got nothing here that gets me to SWM. Okay, but I have the Daker card. Which will give me a +1 to my dice on a Jailbreak. And I can do this on any march that I wish, which is cool. It's a wild card. But my capabilities have been greatly diminished by the choice of the card that I played before. I won't get another attack here. Like, I don't have another way to persist that feud. That feels a little wrong. For the rest of the game, this feud cube is going to be out there, and I don't think I'm going to have a damn thing I can use for it. Oh, I could use this. This allows me to hit anything for a battle, though, and battles can be a lot of points. And I don't want to guess which battle I'm going to be in position to go for. So I'm going to go for the Jailbreak here. I can always use this again to hit that same location or some other Scottish location, if I so desire. But, you know, the cards that you choose to play early on really impact the plays that you can make later on. And at the end of the game, when you're really looking for points, you may not be able to do the things that are valuable at that point. Of course, hopefully you've managed to, and yeah, you can hear I'm doing laundry, finally. You've managed to collect up good points early on, like Orange did, like Blue, Pink, and Green did not, but whatever. Notice something. So, a lot of your cards will have your own province or your own march with a battle capability. I think all the march-based cards, rather than the family-based ones, have that. At first I saw this, oh, I can hit Middlemarch, and with a feud or Jailbreak, that's great. I'll be able to target more things. Now, it excludes, because I will never be feuding with myself or have one of my own people in jail, just as a thought. This guy's also doing a Jailbreak. This is just too hard to pass up. Although, it doesn't look like I'm going to have good shots at it, right? Back to the thought processes, because that's what I'm interested in. I don't want to play the Warden. These guys, it's great to hold these guys. They're going to give me bonuses later on. Again, sandbagging points. Great idea. These give me a lot more flexibility. Sure, I can only do one type of thing. I did my Jailbreak. I got my points for it. Yeah, they were okay. And there's not one of those I can do again. Of course, I can't feud here because I did my Jailbreak, but I wouldn't really want to at this point. But what about a raid, right? What about my raid choices? Well, now I'm limited to either hitting the English on the other marches, or the Scots on the other marches for raids. And I think that's what I'll look for the best. Although I do have the opportunity on one of these to raid the Debatable lands. I rolled a die for this because my thought is, look, everybody has a chance to hit the jailbreaks. They probably are going to go for it. Sure, there are two other people who might raid the Debatable lands before me, but they both have jailbreaks available to them with these extra points. The English one has the advantage of being able to do a jailbreak and maybe get those, although this guy might be getting them. The Scot, well, less advantage. I could look at their bonuses and try to, you know, guess what they're going to do based on that. I don't really feel like doing that. I have a whole shitload of horses, which means I'm going to be good at whatever I do. But anyway, I rolled, which is actually a negative for this, except there's 2 sheep there that I could grab. And I really do need sheep. I have too many horses, right? I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 horses. I'm only allowed to have 5. I need to get 3 more sheep before the next autumn. Now, I can probably gain one from cards or whatever, but, you know, otherwise it might be difficult. But I think I'm going to do one of these raids and look for the location that has the best quantity of sheep, because I'm going to be able to throw a fairly hefty attack in. Not huge. I only have 2 horses here that are available for this raid. One thing I didn't consider, especially when I was playing green, because he goes so early. I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to get, you know, my choice of attacks. I'll go for the jailbreak that I want to go against, this defense, whatever. Seems like a great thing. Might have been a good idea to place my warden there, because these guys have been revealed already. The opposing players know what these are. They know that we're facing... No, he can't jailbreak. They know that they're facing a rumor and a 1-point defense at most, like anywhere. And I don't have my castle over there, so it's pretty obvious things are weak there. It would have been an interesting option, but on the other hand, you know, I got 1 sheep exposed here. Probably nobody's going to go for it. And here, a feuds with, yeah, you get a lot of points, maybe get some notoriety over there, but again, doesn't feel terribly powerful to me. Let me look at this. Why did the jailbreak? Yeah, jailbreak doesn't give you notoriety as a defender. I think you get tons of victory points. That's all. Yeah. It's hard to get notoriety for successfully defending yourself, I guess. Through the revelations, unlike last time, there will not be, in the second pick, there will not be a chance to upgrade your notoriety, which is kind of weird because, like, the two different winter phases, one of them gives you this chance right after these are revealed to boost your chances a little bit. But now we slip down. It says place notoriety here. Oh, no, it says repeat steps B, C. No, B, D, E, F. So we skip the place notoriety. So now each player has to choose the target regions. I'm not going to go too heavily into those choices. I feel like they largely made them already as they picked their cards. This time, you know, last time we were looking at battles, right? And a lot of the players were fixated on the battle or on the most important thing that they could go after. But now it's a lot of the players are going after a jailbreak, and a couple of them are going after sheep to fill out because they have so many horses already. Or, like, this guy already did a jailbreak. This guy already did a jailbreak. Actually, the 2 who did jailbreaks are doing sheep. Everybody else is going for jailbreak. Nobody threw a warden out, so that will not be impacting anything. Nobody's going for the debatable land directly. Somebody may have it, like this guy can hit it if he so desires. Let's say his options dry up. Going for the debatable lands is 2 sheep that are undefended. That might be better, right? The only thing against it is I go so late, so I didn't plan on it, but I decided to go after Scottish because there were these here. But honestly, the debatable lands is easier. If I can do it, I'll do it. I didn't mention Berwick and Carlisle have a die marked on them. They have an extra die in defense for those because they're walled towns. Sometimes that group think that quick, lots of points for jailbreaks, I should do that, works out very badly. Didn't think about, again, what the other players have on their sheets. Hume, with his 3 dice in defense plus the 1 there, he's outnumbering me in terms of total dice. That's not good. I was mistaken. Feuds and jailbreaks are not limited to the locations. It's anywhere. That's interesting. I don't want to do a feud or jailbreak with either of the people who were in a position where they played a card opposite that. But it does open some extra opportunities. So for example, this guy, well, he already succeeded, and this guy, he already failed. Nobody can go for a jailbreak against that again. So I can't do that, but it is kind of intriguing that it kind of might have skewed my choices. I could go for a feud. I know that's easy. However, I really want sheep. I need sheep. God, do I need a sheep. First, due to positioning, I fucked things up again. I took English Eastmark sheep for or horses for here. I noticed, hey, Fenwick still has his horses, so I'm able to fix it. It's very confusing, and it's just got to do with not enough table for this board. What I'd really like to have with this is enough table to have a sheet here and have these sheets going up, down, near where they are. I was getting confused in the last game. I hoped this would help me. It still doesn't for this particular player. He looks like he's close to the English East March, and so I tend to play from there. Just one of the many, this one has nothing to do with the game. It has to do with the combination of solo play plus not being able to fit everything where it needs to be on the table. Could this game be, could this board be shrunk down, whatever? Yeah, maybe. I mean, this has a huge footprint. It has a footprint that's larger than most like 18xx games. Sure, there are games that are bigger than it. I'm thinking Silverton here not Silverton, although maybe the original Silverton, its boards were quite large. I'm thinking Lords of Sierra Madre here, which would just eat up so much table. There aren't a lot of games that aren't big war games that eat up a lot of table like this does. And so that's kind of, it's a weird situation, Where do you play? Do you play on your dining room table? This is about the same size as a dining room table. If you got 6 people gathered together to play on something that size, you're going to have trouble. You're going to need extensions and whatnot. If you play at a convention or something, it's going to be fine. And I'm sure GMT and whatever, and really serious gamers are going to have more table. I have more table if I needed it, and I just didn't think I did. But it is kind of a weird situation, and I don't feel like the map feels big. If it weren't for these stupid horses being so large, I think actually the map could be shrunk down quite a bit. In overall size, and could have used smaller cards for these things. Yeah, you got mixed feelings on that kind of stuff. It's great to be able to shuffle these big decks and everything, but you should also take into account, hey, how much table space does this take up? There are some games that eat up a hell of a lot. Something like Arkham Horror with lots of expansions and everything can eat up a terribly large amount of space. So yeah, I mean, it depends. But this is not able to fit on what I would say is a normal size table. Figured out a way to do a little less of the narrative, not going through all the thinking for the cards, although that may be the more interesting thing than what the results are. It's seeing the results that gives anything like a narrative, so we'll stick with that, I guess. I think I've got everybody out, I hope. I could look around for twos and see if anybody's got any. I see some ones out there. They're guys that I withdrew because they were battle, or this guy did a warden, so he didn't get one. Okay, so now we do the green one first. What's he doing? Well, we have to find him on the board. Yeah, he's doing something horrible here. He's got 2 dice in an attack, and we've got something in it. Oh, I was going to attack here, and I actually revealed the thing, and in a real game that would have been no good. But then I found that I had a held card that was negated because of this castle here, even though it's not garrisoned. So I switched to this one, and this works out much better. I'm not cheating on purpose. I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed with information, so I'm trying to make best decisions. Sometimes post facto, but I just want to, if you saw me set up there, that's why it changed. So let's see, I've got 2 dice versus 4 dice, and green is Scottish. This is this. Now I have to worry about somebody. He gets a bunch of rerolls when he goes, and yeah, this would have halved the total dice, right? Is that what this one was? Yeah, which is hard to represent. I guess you could move the whole defense token over temporarily. Okay, that's a hit and a block, I'm guessing. Raids 5, oh no, that's a capture. Okay, so let's look. Who did I hit? I hit pink. Does pink have any bonus? All defensive dice gain +1 DRM. And Hume's there, so it definitely occurs. I think it's all defense dice, though, even if Hume's not there. I didn't do this other special peeking at the top 2 events. Too bad. You know, I don't know how much that would have helped, but it might have. Okay, so I got 1 hit at a 6, and I got rolled against at a 7. I'm in England, so I don't get any rerolls. So my 6 on a jailbreak would be a hit. A 7 on a jailbreak is hanged. This does not destroy the success. It's not a block, but it creates 6 victory points for the defender, who will be pink in this case. No notoriety. 6 victory points for the defense. An attacking horse is lost, which is pretty nasty. Horses are valuable. What else? And the cube is removed, which means I'm not going to get anything for my success. For the jailbreak, though, I get to make it 4 victory points for dark green. And then a horse was free. No horse was freed, right? Horse limit 2 times the cubes removed. There were no cubes that I could remove. What is the ordering on this? That's an interesting question. I have to look. Because maybe that cube is removed. Maybe I get a bonus off the cube being removed, or maybe this kills that cube. But I don't know. It spells it out here. If the attacker still had at least 1 cube and the defender So Reivers in Jailbox, after the hits were applied, remove the cube now. So actually I do get the advantage of a horse for the battle. Who is this? Green. And that's important. And then that removes a cube. But that's important because a horse was freed, so I get 2 notoriety and get rid of one of this guy's notoriety. So I actually succeeded, even though I was hanged. I break even on horses. I get some points, though. It's not terrible, but I created more points than I got. So that's probably not fantastic for me. I don't think I need those cubes anymore in the rest of the game. Let's take a look at the next one. We got the Dakers here. They're attacking something with no defense. It's a jail. I'm going to get 4 English dice. And I get 1 more die and up to 3 rerolls, but I could eat these rerolls instead first. Okay, that's 2 hits. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to eat these 2 rerolls, and we'll get rid of the rough wooing because it has no other effects. No, not available in Jailbreaks. How about that? I may have cheated. I'm allowed 2 rerolls, 3 rerolls, and I had 3 dice left. So we'll try for some more hits. Okay, we got a 5. I think that counts. Yeah, Jailbreak. So I've got 3 hits on Jailbreak at 4 each. That's going to give me 12 points for Daker, who is already in the lead. Boom. I got enough hits. I clearly removed the cube, but I also get 2 horsies, and I got to pull them out of this bag. Because I didn't have enough room at one point or another. So that puts these here. I took my points, and now I get my 2 notoriety up there. And the owner loses 1. Forgot to flip this over. It doesn't really matter because nobody's selecting anymore. This horse comes back, so now I have 5 horses. I have a decent amount of sheep, so that's allowable. We'll flip that over. I think I should just be collecting those cubes. Let's just put them here because throwing them in the cup is just annoying if I have to fish them out afterwards. That puts me to having to replenish my battery. I've got to clean these off because otherwise... It's weird because they're kind of useful at times to keep that information in place, but they also confuse the shit out of me. Oh geez, did I do... I fucking didn't do pink. I don't remember what I had. Yeah, this is why I don't want to do it. It was green who went. Greens should be pulled off. Pink had a shitload of cards, of stuff. What are they doing? Let's try to refigure it. It was 2 horsies, 2 Reivers for a raid, 2 sheep. I think I had more than that though. Like it feels like I had more. Did I have a held card there? Was that him? Does somebody have a 3 attack dice? Because I feel like I had a 3 attack dice card piece in play. He does, and he went after 2 combat dice. Okay, he has a held card. He has 3 attack dice, but they're not on a held card. Yeah, I think this is the guy who had the 3 attack dice on the held card. Okay. So we're back on red. What's red doing? Red's doing a jailbreak. There were no defense dice here. Nothing else in play. So I get 5 dice. I can't use the Scots on this. It's only raids and battles. Got the cube in there, yeah. Okay. I get 2 hits, no rerolls. 2 hits on the jail is worth 8 points. Again, that's because of this special card. Be cool if... Oh, there could be double jailbreaks, but that could have helped Pink. But he didn't want to go up against this again and fail again. Okay. And this guy, he can't be targeted because there's no cubes there anymore. The main thing is, later in the game, it's possible that there are people who will have cubes where they'll have multiple people in jail, or there'll be multiple players who have people in jail, so different players could attack the same place. So what did we have? We had 2 hits. We just did the points for that. Who are we doing? We're doing red, because I've been removing things so I can tell, which means this comes off. 2 hits means 2 more horses. Dig out of this bag. I really ought to have done something about that. This is for red here. He won horses. See, you can see these horses are too big even for this. But it's not like these are much smaller, or any smaller. They're oversized too. So what do we get? We get 2 notoriety and -1 wherever the fuck we are, which is over here. That drops him down here, gives us a couple notoriety. Now that extra notoriety makes this a more attractive place to attack, right? Because now we'll be getting an extra die off the notoriety location there. It's weird that this is a big box, but you can only ever get 2 in it. Whereas some of these others generate a lot. Whatever. So that's going to be his. And now we look at the next one. That's dark blue. What's dark blue attacking? We look for him. He's got a shitload of horses, man. That's why he's going for sheep, I guess. Okay, dark blue is going into the debatable lands. This doesn't help. Just making sure. I'm like, why is that still kicking around there? So I've got 5 dice, supposedly to 1, which I don't believe. There's no defense for the debatable lands. I've got 5 dice, according to this. This is... Wait. What just went? Red just went. Hold on. Red is going to re-roll 2 more dice on this jailbreak, because there's a lot of points there. And that will kill the rough wound. No, it's a jailbreak. Can't do it on a jailbreak. I thought it was a raid and then said jailbreak and didn't realize. Yeah, so I've got extra potential dice here for the rough wooing. What did I say? I said 5 dice. Do I have any benefits showing? What happened? Did orange go already? Yeah, they should have gotten rid of this. I used the card, so it's not bad for that. 5 dice after sheep. All right, that looks like... So this is a raid. I get cattle and VPs off the 3s and 4s. So I get 3 victory points there, plus 2 more for the sheep roll. So that's 5 victory points for dark blue. Puts them up to 17. Now, I know I get one of these sheep. And I don't know where I want to put it. But that goes up. I still have too many horses, but that's okay. Where am I defensible? It's a good question. Where's my castle? It's here. This is a really potentially defensible location, but I don't want to put too many sheep there, so I will put one here. I can never bed more than 2 sheep in an area, I think. We'll see. I haven't looked at later turn cards. I have succeeded against those sheep. Now, do I gain cattle is the question. I don't think there are any cattle in the debatable lands. I've never attacked the debatable lands before, so I don't know. Each unblack gets 1 from the defender's cattle box. Cattle are never received from the debatable, however you get the victory points. Okay. So I did that right. Anything else happen? Defender loses cattle. Also, defender's cube to attacked feud box if attacker scored victory points. But this is the debatable lands. There's no feud with them. These guys are just targets. And then I flip that. For whatever it's worth. Again, that's just going away. And blue's attack is done. Yeah, we're getting close to the end of the turn. Remember, there's 3 of these. And this battery is running low. Great. All right, pink. We look for where they're at. There aren't a lot of horses on the board, so that's getting easier. We're doing a raid with no defense. We have 3, 4, 5. Wait a minute. Why didn't I re-roll? Why didn't I re-roll any dice? Let's re-roll 2 of the... So these were all hits. I wanted to count them. I'm going to lose a victory point and re-roll the 2 dice. Okay, I got that victory point back, but I drained the dice pool here, which is of some value. I get that victory point back. Okay. I would have liked to get another sheep. But over here, we're looking at English attacking there at 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 dice. There are only 8 red dice, if I recall correctly. 2, 4, 6, 7. No, there's 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I dropped a die earlier. Must be around somewhere. I had thought there were only 8 dice, which is why I was okay, but now I see that there are 10. Anyway, what are we at? We're at all of these versus 2 dice. I'll have to look for that die. I like these too much. Okay. That is a defensive block. And we have all these hits. This is not going to be pretty. All right. The block, and I have no bonuses here. Who is this? This is pink. Why does he have defensive dice? It's a good fucking question. I don't see any. I think those must be leftovers from an earlier battle because I didn't clean them up like I should have done with these as well. Right? And these, and it's very easy to forget that kind of thing. Okay, so I don't think there were any blocks because there is no bonus there. So let's get rid of that. And this is really painful. That's 4 sheep hits. Which will be worth 8 points for pink. And 3 cattle hits. The cattle hits, got to make change. And again, you know, this isn't on a solid table, so like I'm so worried I'm going to knock it down. The cattle hits, what did I say? There were 3 of them. So I get 3 cattle off of this, which is a nice little bonus. But I also get to take both his sheep and distribute them in my own lands, preferably where I'll be defended. I don't have a lot of defense. Let's see, the castle's here. Let's put them here and here. And these are not bedded sheep. And I don't know where that die is. I'm so pissed now. There it is. Ugh. I often can't find them if I dropped them a long time before. Now this battery is almost dead. I think that was Pink's entire turn. Their horses come back. This flips over. They're not this player. And we'll swap batteries. Last but not least, as we fish more dice out. Oh, I can throw my plastic away. I brought my garbage up. That's why it was sitting in there. Last but not least, we're on the pale blue. He played a wild card. I don't know if I... Did I throw out any other wild cards? I don't think so. Yeah. I may have forgotten. Nah, I think I did the +1. I did a +1 for something, but I don't remember what it was. Might have been just the defensive dice for someone. Anyway, whatever. It's too hard to cope with. Where is he and what is he doing? He's doing a jailbreak. And we've got 4, 5, 6, 7 to 2. That seems right. I am the Scots. 3, 6, 7 to 2. Anything else going here that I didn't account for? I don't know. It's so fucking hard to remember everything in this game. I'm at +1 on my dice. Okay. 7, 7, 5, 5 versus a 5. Jailbreak. 7s don't count for anything. 5s and 6s do. So I got 4 hits with a block. Make it 3 hits. 3 hits on a jailbreak at 4 points each is 12 points. Putting me into second to last. And I got plenty of hits, so my cube comes off. I get 2 horses out of the baggie. Stupid fucking things. 2 more horses. There's more. I got 2 notoriety and take 1 away from the owner. That's nice. Yeah, little counters work a lot better when you start stacking stuff. Cubes don't work so well when you're stacking. You bump the table and boom, they knock over. And the horses the same. The sheep maybe aren't as unbalanced, but yeah, the decision to use so much wood, appealing to the Eurogamer, not as effective. Yeah. I don't know where the fuck I am. I'm over here. Alrighty. Yeah. I should have gone with my instincts with this one. You know, I looked at it, I said it looks too Euro-y. But it's a designer who's done some really good stuff. I'll give it a chance. Nah. Should have waited. And, you know, it's funny, my fall sale, I had like 4 or 5 half-price games I could have bought. I bought 2 little $10 packets I would have bought one other game, but it was sold out by the time I was on, which was like, a day late or whatever, which is fine. It's just, the point is, I'm getting too many GMT games through the pre-order system, where it's like, I'm not getting the benefit of, oh, maybe I shouldn't pre-order this. Maybe I should wait until it's been out for a year or whatever. At the very least, the things that I bought, they're expansion sets for Down in Flames that came out in C3I, and I'm so glad, to be able to grab them as packets now. I didn't realize they were out there. Not that I've played Down in Flames since I owned it the second time, but yeah, it's really so I paid like $5 each or something for them. I don't know, right? You think so? I don't know. They were half price to begin with, and then half price again. Okay, what the fuck am I doing? I don't fucking know. But did I get the +1s? Yeah, I did, because those 4s counted. I think he's just done. He loses this wild card bonus, and that gets us to the end of. Now, post-combat awards for battles fought only by one side, we don't have any of those. Now we do remove attack indicators. Okay, so at this point I collect all of these up, which is one reason why when you're doing the second set, you might as well just remove them because they're not going to have a fucking effect. I'll be back after that. Stand up all horses, reset debatable land to exactly 2 sheep, discard current events, and return defense tokens to family sheep. I'll do all that stuff. I'll babble a little bit more. I stood a few horses up and realized, this was the point where I thought maybe, like on my first reading of the rules, I assumed the sheep would be standing up at this point. That you'd only bed them for, one year, and then you'd have to find new sheep or something. That's not the case. Once they're laying on their side, they're forever immortal sheep, which is pretty cool. But it's not what I got from reading the rules. And it's one of the problems with procedural rules is that they tell you what to do. They don't tell you what not to do. And there was, as far as I recall, no discussion of when you bastel a sheep, it's safe forever or anything like that, which would have been a very helpful thing to have in my mind as I'm reading the rules. These rules are, like most Euro games, not designed to be read and understood, right? That's why I was so shocked when I was able to just explain it from here and make it really easy, was because there's a whole lot of just procedure. It's like, it is this, just explaining things in a little bit more detail in each case, which means you might have to refer to the rules. You've seen me do it a couple of times. But what you don't have to do is like read the rule. What you don't manage to do is read the rules and have an understanding. You get about as much understanding as you do by just reading the sequence of play. I don't find that appealing at all. Like, to me, I want the rules to kind of fit together and give me an idea of what the game's going to be like, instead of just, a set of instructions that you have to try to intuit what the fuck it all means. And the only way I figure out what the fuck it all means is by actually playing it. I'm trying to figure out, that would apply with 18xx games as well, right? Like, I got a pretty good idea of what like the first time I read my 1830 rules, I had a pretty good idea of what the general flow was from it. Better than I do from this. From this, my idea of general flow is just, I'm doing things and I collect victory points at various times in the turn. In 18xx, I have this idea of I'm investing in companies and they're going to pay me dividends and they get stock value and stuff like that. When you get to the specifics, you need a certain level of procedural, I guess, in any game. But a game like this, and like most Euros, just doesn't give you like an idea of what your goal is. Yeah, my goal is to get victory points. Okay, great. You know, but how do I understand how they're produced and whatnot? You know, if I look at a standard war game, maybe I get, oh, there are victory points for these hexes and for casualties, and I just kind of get that as an idea. But here, it's a fucking point salad all over the place. It's not just not knowing how to win. It's just having no idea what sort of the sequence, you know, what the play kind of fits together or whatever, because it's all just this procedural stuff. It's funny because I've asked myself, what would it be like, you know, at times, what would it be like if somebody tried to make a war game the way that they do the Euros? And EU Pop kind of showed that. And it's not impossible. You can write rules in that fashion. It's just they give you less, you know, it gives you so little idea of what the fuck the game is about, and you know what you're trying to do and why and how and all kind of shit like that. You walk into it having to play and fiddle around with the pieces to get any kind of idea. I don't know. Anyway, where are we next? So, add victory points for notoriety and Reivers in jail. Play spring cards, there aren't any, and record each player's end of turn total victory point. This is really weird. So, I'm tracking the victory points on here, and that's working just fine. This is the only place in the rules where it mentions you write the victory points down. Now, in order to figure out what you got, you've got to do this as they happen. And so, following the procedural, which is what you're trained to do in this game, it doesn't work. Now I'm going to have to turn these guys face up. Nothing tells me to not to do what I'm doing, but there's actually no notification of how you indicate that you used one of these abilities. That you can only use once in the turn in the entirety of the winter. So, where are we? Okay, we're on March notoriety victory point scoring, right? Is that what it is? Yeah, but we don't know how many Reivers go. Okay, I think it's 1 point per Reiver, but I don't know. So we're going to have to look this up. This is the spring. Attack indicators, horses, we did that. Debatable land, we owe a sheep there because we stole a sheep from there. Discard events, we did that. Defense tokens, we did that. What was attack indicators? Oh, yeah, that's those stupid 1-2 markers. You can skip all these on turn 3 because you don't have another turn. Reivers in jail, it's 2 points for each Reiver that you have in one of your jails. 2 victory points. So, none. None. 2 victory points for dark green, because they did not get jailed. This is pink. No. This is red. Not, I don't know what it might not be. No. And this is, okay, so we got those. Now we get the other points, which is this March notoriety victory point scoring, which is 3 and 1. Let's look at each of these. We'll start up here. Orange gets 3 for the most notoriety in that area, and I want to go this way. I don't know what's up with this. Like left to right seems normal, but I want to go towards the left. I really don't understand. The 2 blues are tied for second place. They get nothing. Go over here. Dark blue gets 3. And this kind of magenta gets 1. Green gets 3. Magenta gets 1. Pink and someone, dark green, share, so they each get 1. have no idea why the victory point chart is bugging me so much. Why I think it should be a snake or something. Dark blue gets 3. And magenta gets 1. And here orange gets 3. Player in last place selects and plays a discarded summer card for free. Last place is the dark green. So he's going to get to look at this stack. This stack has all been used, and take one for free. Let's do that. We look at what we got. We got a 3-point card here. Dark green, we're not in turn 2 yet. So I could put Selby, who's an SEMEEM, and I've got a WM, but I'm in the East March, so this is kind of appealing to replace. But I can look at these others. Certainly don't want this. I'd be losing a point, essentially. The Abbot of Kelso I could take, which allows me to take a card for free at the end of the second and third summers before the Keeper of Tyndale. This looks the most valuable. I don't have to pay a damn thing for it. And who is this? The Abbot of Kelso. He doesn't come with a thing. Okay, now these go back. But now, other players in the bottom of half of VP get a default action. And that's going to be pale blue and this magenta. Default actions are a horse, a sheep, a cattle, a notoriety, or bastel, a sheep. The best thing you... Oh, 3 cattle, sorry. The best thing you could take is a horse. But pale blue's at his horse limit. He has a decent amount of cattle. I don't think I need more. So I think I will take me a sheep. Or I might bastel a sheep. I'm just going to take a sheep because I'm not really that rich in sheep. That gets me to 6 horses. Gives me a little bit more room. Oh, now you know what? Fuck that. A horse is too valuable because a horse is a horse is a horse, of course. Yeah, we'll take a horse. What about him? He has 5 horses. He can actually hold another one. So we will grab yet another horse from the bag. Oh, that's not him. That's him. But that's okay. Almost gave it to the wrong person. Taking a horse seems like a really worthwhile goal. And I will pour those out in a moment. So, that's the end of the turn. And we can see the victory point placement. Orange has done really well. Why? I don't know. I really don't. You know, he did manage a jailbreak, which is worth a lot of points. This should be gone. Dark blue also managed a jailbreak, but so did other players. You know, it's just kind of it's not really clear to me. I could look over, try to figure out from the cards what they did, but I have no memory of what they did. What happened in this game? The things I remember is I agonized over card plays and stuff like that. What I don't remember is some broad story, which in a lot of ways is why I play a game, is to see some sort of picture of what's happening. Even in a very simple game like Risk or something, you get to see the territory changing hands and everything. Here, the only thing I get to see is, how many sheep do I have? How much notoriety do I have? Where am I good? It's all about the victory points, right? It's all about obtaining the salad. And that's just less than sufficient for me. I will continue playing it because I've got something. So when I play something that makes me this miserable, what do I do afterwards? I figure out something that's going to make me even more miserable. And trust me, I've got something. I may not even be able to do this next one. I've tried before, but now I'm using a print and play version of it that is 60% bigger than I played ever before, and it is just, and I'm not sure I have set up for it, like rules for it, and I can not read the counters because I printed them and stuff like that. So it is a nightmare. Let's just put it that way. All right. But yeah, that's the way my mind works. When I make myself miserable doing one thing, I discipline myself, a la the Battle of Franklin, and force myself to do something even more miserable. All right, up this goes. I know the video is way too fucking long, but that's okay. It's not worth watching anyway, is it? Fine, we'll give you a sneak peek. This is the old Central Front series. Now, I played with the 3 original maps. Dick Vollers, I think it is, came up with some really like modifications that I could have done, honestly, where, you know, estimates on troops and whatnot, because the 2 newer S&T games, and these aren't, you know, completely aligned yet, but the 2 newer S&T games are different. The thing is, when this game, I'll get to it later, but I just wanted to show you, this is what I'm looking at, and my poor counters are just these horrible ragged things and different sizes and everything. Instead of using normal cardstock, which when I use it, it's always too thin. Like I use something like manila folders or something as my stock. I used actual cardboard box. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like corrugated cardboard under there, which worked out really weird. It wasn't as horrible as it sounds, but what it means is sometimes you cut in a place and the counter just kind of, there's just air at the edge of the counter or something, which is funky. Anyway, thought I'd give you a quick glimpse of the horror.